Hello, lookout for number one. Good to see you, Oscar. Um, I got some treats tonight. I got some Darth Dawkins from Bayou way back in 2016. And we're going to see what a snivelly little baby he was in 2016, which if you can't do the math, it's 6 years ago. Hey, Oscar. Um, 6 years ago. Now, what I have on offer today is little baby Darth, little baby Gary, having a little temper tantrum in a hangout over something that happened sometime in the past. The viewer, you and I, don't know what it's about, but Gary gets really personal with with uh, um, Joe Sonseed, I think. Joe Sonseed, yeah, that's his name. So I want to bring that in for you to watch. Come on, man. Come on, man. Be a nice little computer. There we go.
Judge the veracity or truthfulness or accuracy
Ooh,
of what I'm saying.
I don't think you can hear that.
No. Yeah. Why do you have to be a fucking smartass?
See what I mean?
Whoa.
Joe, you know what? I have attempted on a number of occasions to be civil with you, and you're being a fucking asshole.
Why you
And you know
cussing me out?
exactly what you're doing. Shut up, Arcane. I'm talking to Joe right now, right?
I'm
Joe,
talking
you
to
know
you
exactly.
right
He's
now.
like freaking
Joe,
back.
you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what
Listen to this guy.
you're doing. And right now,
No.
you're trying to be. No, I'd like to finish with that. I'll be short, Joe. You know, and I know.
Okay, before we carry on, just notice that his avatar is that of a lion, and he's calling himself Dances. Okay, I've never heard it until I found this clip. I did not know that he had an avatar or a sock account named Dances. But this guy is such a child that I'm really glad this particular clip is not very long.
You were trying to be a fucking asshole rather than carry on a civil conversation. You know exactly what you're doing right now. Now, do you want to look into the camera and tell me right now that you have no idea? You have no idea what I'm talking.
Okay, I also want you to notice that there are people in the hangout who are telling Darth that, hey, Darth, like he was okay. He wasn't being an asshole. He wasn't doing anything. He didn't say anything, because it's between the two, between Darth and Joe. Dances and Joe, I should say. And notice all the way through there's Arcane. I think his full name was Arcane Logos. I could be wrong, but he's definitely Arcane, and he's definitely a Christian. He tries to calm Gary down, and Gary will just have none of it.
Talking about,
He
Joe?
was civil with you.
See?
Joe, you have no idea what I'm talking about?
You're upset because I use language that's used in an argument against theism.
No.
And you've used,
what you're doing is you are
Screaming, shouting, Darth.
quoting the Pal Talk Power Rangers that concoct and twist what I.
You see, that's the Pal Talk Power Rangers that they came from. The platform they came from was Pal Talk, and they must have been in a group called the Power Rangers or the Pal Talk Power Rangers, because that wasn't part of my history. I never was there. So they've come into Hangouts in 2016 and brought their baggage, or at least Gary's brought all his baggage over from Pal Talk, and this is in 2016.
I say, and you said it. In
not
order
everything's
to get my
about
goat.
you.
Did
This
you say it?
argument-
Okay, you know what, Joe? You're being a fucking asshole right now. I was attempting to.
Hello, who is this? See what happened to him? Did like everybody move to Discord?
You're being a fucking asshole.
You're
Am I being
tripping.
a fucking asshole?
Oh wait, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Well, everyone,
Are you speaking?
No, you know.
Oh, I was speaking. Can you hear me now? No, okay, hold on a sec. This is a pleasant surprise.
Okay, tell me what happened. Do you know Gary is having you and me banned from the servers?
What servers?
Can you get into politics server?
No.
Yeah, he got you banned from there. And what about politics and religion server?
Politics and religion server?
Yeah, that's his domain.
I can't join that either.
Yeah, he got you banned, permanently banned, because he has a lot of power there, has a lot of pull there. No. Yeah, I got into a fight with the admins there, just defending you. I had to defend you because Gary was just trying to get you banned from the major server.
He's such a nice
servers. The Reformation. Mm-hmm. What about Reformation? Mm-hmm.
Reformation? What's Reformation?
Reformation is like his territory.
Oh, I you know what, on Discord, literally, I stay in this particular hangout, and that's it. I mean, this.
Yeah, he's so awful. I got into the fight with the room owners, the servers. They don't know you because they're friends with Gary. They believe him. Everything about. They believe him, what he said about you.
Really?
So he got you banned from the major servers, and I defended you. I fought for you. Like, they were spreading rumors about you.
Hold on a sec. I've got to adjust your volume. People are complaining. Sorry, everybody. Go ahead.
Oh, you're live right now?
Yeah, we've been live. This is my live channel. But carry on.
Well, because you know how Gary has an issue about you and me, so he's spreading all these rumors. So, since T was spreading rumors about you, I spread rumors about the owners of Politics and Religion server because they do not know you. They don't know you. And there's been lots of rumors about you because of Gary, so I basically spread rumors about the owners of Politics and Religion server.
Oh, that's very
because
nice
you're not there to defend yourself. You're not there to defend yourself whatsoever.
There's, of course not, because they're scared that, I mean, if I go in there to defend myself, that's the end of their culture, because the very root of what they stand for is a lie, and they don't want me to let me in there to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak.
And this crazy woman, she's like the co-owner or the admin of Politics and Religion server that permanently banned you and me. Okay. Well, I'll tell you something about her. I have to permanently block her.
What's her name?
So much messages to me.
What's her name?
Her name is Foxy. He lives with her. Foxy. She's in her 20s. She's very attractive. She's in New York. She grew up with Arabs. She's like Arab.
She grew up with Arabs in New York?
Yeah, New York City. Her name is Foxy. I have to block her because she types so many texts to me. Like, she won't stop typing to me, like pages and pages of typing to me, just go on and on and on, just overwhelming me. I had to block her. I'll permanently block her. She's good looking, attractive, but she banned you and me. She got you and me banned from a major server.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's the joke's on her.
Poor Gary.
Yeah, but the joke's on them because I don't go into their servers. So
yeah, we don't go in that loser server.
Yeah, to ban me from a server that I never.
We don't need Gary's people. We don't need a Gary. Foxy, you're a whore. You're an ugly whore. And you know what? If I tell your Baba, your father, you're afraid of your dad, Foxy. You're in New York City. You grew up with Arabs and Muslims, and you talk bad about Muslims. Shame on you.
I wouldn't want to be Foxy.
You're from a Muslim family that converted to Christianity, converted to Orthodox. You forgot your Muslim roots, your Arab roots. Shame on you, Foxy.
She's a Christian now? She's a Christian?
Yeah, she's a Christian now. She's a loser.
Oh, my God.
Loser for Gary. Loser, a Christian Orthodox. Loser for Gary.
Luckily, we have a winner on board. Hey, Oscar. Look out for number one.
And Foxy, if you hear me, I pee on you. If I ever, I'm born in New York City. I'm originally from New York City. If I ever come across you, I'm going to pee on you. I have to pee and I'll pee on you
Man.
like I pee on Amber. And plus I pee on you and Sidney and Sia, right? Live on cam, I peed on everybody live on cam. Remember when I did that?
Does this follow community guidelines of YouTube? Because you never know, when you start talking
Oh
about.
no, it's okay because like I'm not doing it live. I'm not doing it live.
Okay.
But Foxy, if I ever come across you, I will pee on you. Your beautiful face, your beautiful hair, and I'll urinate on your face. Golden shower to you. You Arab hating your own people when you're Arab. How could you hate your own roots? You forgot your Arab roots. Shame on you. Shame on you. Your Baba needs to know about what a chim you are. Your Baba is your
Who's
father.
Baba?
Baba means
Baba.
father.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give us a
Your Baba
background?
will know that you're a shameless person
Can you give
that
us a
support Gary. Shameless person that support Gary. Shame on you, Foxy. Foxy, you're 20s. You're a 20-year-old who basically support Gary. Yeah, and forgot your Muslim roots, forgot your Arab roots. And she banned Sidney and me. She banned Sidney and me for the sake of Gary. Okay, who is this on here? Oh yeah, look, I gotta add you on Discord.
Come on, girl. Of course.
Yes.
You just hurt my feelings there.
Yeah, don't hurt Oscar's feelings. You know how sensitive he is. Hey man, your analysis of that video that I did was awesome. Nice, well, good work. Well done. Loved it.
Oh, you saw that one? Yeah.
Yeah,
I just had to add it. You know what I mean? Because he's taking the fucking piss.
No, you made some excellent points. You absolutely debunked everything he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I didn't make a commentary. I just put it out there. And I'm finding there's lots more of this shit that I can put out there. These short little wastes.
You know what I was thinking of?
word salad.
You know what I was thinking of doing is actually make a single, single videos of his stupid fucking questions. He made one that I'm really interested on, and it's about. He said, "Oh, imagine there is an infinite. We are in a planet and we have infinite fuel and infinite life, and we have to go to a planet that is on an infinite distance. How long will it take to get there?"
Yeah.
Right. I want to answer because I got the solution for that.
He had one. He had one when he asked me once, can time transverse infinities or something like that? And I kept on saying to him, what do you mean by transverse infinities? And he said, well, can time transverse infinities? And I said, listen, I don't understand the concept. I don't understand what you're trying to say. What does it mean, transversing? Because transverse to me means crossing a bridge or something. So what do you mean transversing infinities? And he'd say, can time transverse infinity? Like, he wouldn't explain himself or anything. He just repeat his fucking question. But here's something interesting. This clip that I was showing today is from 2016, and he must have just moved into his mother's basement at that time. So we need to confirm that. However, I can confirm that at least since July 2017, and I'm sure for quite a ways before that, Gary has been living in his mother's basement. Why? Because I was watching a clip today from 2017, July, and towards the beginning of the clip, Darth is talking and blah, 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 and then all of a sudden you hear, Gary, and immediately he goes mute, and everybody says, can you hear me? Are you there? Are you there? And he just stays mute, and they carry on talking, blah, 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 for 10 straight minutes, okay? And 10 minutes later, he unmutes himself, and he's back, and he's kind of just chewing.
He's eating.
He couldn't wait to finish his dinner and chew and swallow everything before he had to rush downstairs and get back to the internet. And that's 5 years ago.
Yeah, I recently made a video about that.
Exactly.
In a clip, five times that I could find and I had two people
I have another one.
tracing those.
I found one. I found one. I was because I was preparing. I the shit I do is not very popular, but what is popular is G-Man and Darth Dawkins. So I'm going to do a sort of a Darth here, Gary there, sort of a mixture to keep people entertained.
It is unfortunate because you have brought out when I was following the history of the Bible, right?
Yes.
Some serious fucking shit.
Right? I'm caught up on that, by the way.
Yeah, and I respected the gentleman because he was saying it from the point of history, right? How shit happened at that time, and most of it was fucking fake and things like that. So it was quite entertaining for the people who like to watch those kind of things or learn, right? But most people, yeah, sure. But I used to do that. I used to hear that when I was driving, on my truck. It was fucking well soothing. What the fuck? Really? And every fucking chapter that he got, it was some serious bullshit that was happening. I go, what the fuck? The whole Bible was fucked up from beginning to end. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was getting information. Fucking, it's too much. Too much good knowledge about the bullshit story of the Bible. Ironically enough. Yeah, but that's good. But unfortunately, I've noticed is I've made some videos and I'm with you in that one. Yeah, I think I know. I think unfortunately people like drama more than serious topics, right? And that's unfortunately. Yeah.
Have you?
Go on.
No, go on.
Go ahead.
Have you seen his court records of the bank suing him? He has a court record.
No,
of bank
suing him? No, I never heard about
suing
that.
him. Yes, have you seen it?
No, bring it to me, young lady. Bring it to
Ooh,
me.
Gary, I'm gonna expose you. Your court records are gonna be released. This is public records. Records. I have to come back. I couldn't find it again. I'm gonna release the court records out in the open. Payback time, Gary, because you said I don't know you, but I know you. You've been sued. Many
He's been
sued by the court. The banks came after you because you're irresponsible and you have a poor credit score. And Foxy, you live as your Baba. You live as your father. You're in your 20s. Move out of there. Move out of there. Gain independent. But then you're afraid of your father because you're in your 20s and you still live with your dad. Shame on you, loser. Just like Gary.
What about Gary? He's like in his 60s and he lives with his mummy. And he has for the last at least 7 years. Or 5 years, I should say. And I'm sure.
Well, let me find the court records. But I thought his mommy passed away. Didn't she? She should be in her 80s or 90s now.
Yeah. Well, she was. Well, whatever she's doing, she's looking after Gary. He's not looking after her.
Right.
She's still alive. She will be in her 90s or 80s.
Well, Gary keeps her on her toes. You know, he's very demanding.
Keeps it alive.
He's very demanding.
How Gary keeps his mother alive? Wow.
But you know what? I mean, I don't know. It sounds weird because it could be a how can I say it? Like a business opportunity. If the lady dies, he inherits the house. Now, it sounds a little bit dodgy, but you know what I mean. That could be a possibility. And then you talking about his debt with the banks or whatnot. That might be a good excuse to sell it, and then he'd be able to stay on top. But it's too fucking late for that.
Do you have a date on those bank debts? Because he might have moved into his mother at about the same time, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me time back on. I gotta search where it is. It's been circulating on Discord.
Well, okay, but you know, right now you don't have to do it.
Side, you're correct. Side, you're a dangerous woman. You're a dangerous.
Yeah, I'm glad you're on our side.
Yeah. Shit.
And now I've got a question for you guys. There's a guy in the side chat, Assembly of God. He says, please send a YouTube link. What exactly does he want me to send him?
No, because he thinks that we are, or you rather, are streaming in YouTube, which you are not. That's what I think he's confused with that.
I am streaming to YouTube. That's how he's watching it.
No, no. But the link to join YouTube, probably.
He must have. He obviously has a link to join YouTube because he's on YouTube. He's watching me on YouTube.
Yeah, he's watching right now.
Yeah.
He's watching us on YouTube right now. He's pissed. Gary is upset.
Oh, Gary. Hi, Gary.
Yeah, Gary's watching us again. Gary's watching us. Okay, what do you have to say to him? Okay, I have to come back and give his court records to both of you. I'll come back. Hey, Gary, it's me, Eve. You know, remember Eve? It was payback time. I'm going to release your court records of all the banks suing your ass, banks suing your butt. Okay, payback time. Payback. Revenge time.
I'll do that.
I hope your bank manager's
I'm a typical Florida woman. I'm a Florida woman. Just remember that, Gary.
Yes, Gary. Just remember that.
Okay, I'll come back. I'll come back with his records. I'll come back with his court records.
How long are you going to be? How long's... Oh.
She cannot teach like that because I fucking make a video tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah.
That's too fucking good. That's
pretty awesome, isn't it?
That's too good. Way too tempted. I'm willing to sin for that.
I will believe Zays that Gary's watching if he types something in the side chat to prove that he's watching, because I don't really think that he's watching.
No, but he has to to do that. He has to be logged into one of his 2 accounts to be able.
Yeah, I know, but I mean he's on Discord all the time, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's watching on YouTube. I'm sorry. He's watching on YouTube, so it doesn't really matter. So,
what's happening?
Well, let me see. Let me see if I can do this properly without causing too much hassle. Just bear with me as my computer is a little slow.
Yeah.
As you know.
Oh, and I yesterday I updated my internet service provider.
Oh yeah.
From 80 megabits per second to 200 megabits per second. This thing fucking flies.
Wow.
Flies. So yes.
It's kind of amazing.
Well, it's the maximum in my area, put it that way. So
nice. I hope your hardware is up to supporting it.
Oh, I built it. I built my PC piece by piece. Well, not piece by, you know what I mean, but I built it.
You built it, yeah. Piecemeal. So, as you can see, I have this short video of where Gary loses it with Joe for no reason, absolutely no reason, and the Christians on the panel there are telling him to calm down because Joe didn't say anything wrong. But this guy is such he's such a narcissist that he can't see what he's doing while others can. So let's play it. Oh,
I won't have any mercy with this asshole.
No, he deserves absolutely none.
He would know what is to be fucking bullied.
I'm gonna keep my video off, I think, while watching, because it's obviously messing.
Hey, Bill's in the house.
Is he?
Yeah. It just pop up in the.
Bill's in the house on the side.
No, in the YouTube channel.
In the YouTube channel. Hey, Bill. I didn't see him though.
Alpha K91. She's in the house as well.
Alpha. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Finally.
We got the A team happening. That's what we have.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, I think the force is strong. I can feel it.
Yes. Hello, Alpha.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Well, we're teaming up and having a good time. We're enjoying our atheism.
You infidels.
Every day.
So, this is the first time we've actually had you on the panel. Welcome.
Yeah, I just was poking around Discord and I saw Oscar and you hanging out. And I said, "Oh, why not?"
Why
Yeah.
not? They don't bite. In fact, your avatar looks like you bite way worse than we do.
Oh, definitely. Got the tools.
Yeah, Oscar, I created a Clubhouse account today and sort of was learning how to use it and navigate it and all that good stuff. So yeah, that was kind of interesting.
So, what is your focus on when you go to YouTube and it's time to relax and look up something? Do you go to what do you put in the search? Darth Dawkins? Do you put Artangelo? Do you look out for number one? What do you put in your search?
Well, interestingly enough, I don't search on YouTube. I have my algorithm trained as well as any dog on my property, and it just frickin' spits out stuff to me. And what I seem to be drawn to the most are very small channels, less than 10,000 subscribers, and sometimes even less than 1,000.
Try less than 1,000. Welcome to my channel.
I do. I like small communities.
Well, you don't find them smaller than this one.
Yeah, everybody has to start somewhere, right? And,
Indeed.
I have no clue as to how to build up a YouTube channel. What people want to watch.
Me neither.
But hey, if you look at it as just a hobby or
absolutely, yeah,
a way to have social interactions with people, maybe if you're very isolated, like I live out in the middle of nowhere, and there's few people around me, so I have to import all of my guests and my fun and social stuff, or I have to jump in the car and drive for a few hours and get up to Los Angeles, and then I'm surrounded by people.
And then all you want to do is drive home again, right? When you're there.
But the cool thing is that I have options, because I used to live in Los Angeles all the time, and I had nowhere to go. So
you moved out of the big city, the rat race?
Well, it started with Corona, really. I got a job offer to guard an avocado farm.
Yeah.
That was being robbed on the regular.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was very isolated, and I said, well, this is probably a good place to go with a really nasty upper respiratory fatal virus floating around,
True enough. You must be a Marine.
I don't know about that.
I mean, look at you.
Smoking dog train.
Putting your life on the line.
I don't know. I did the exact opposite, actually. I saw Los Angeles as a giant petri dish, and
that sounds disgusting. That sounds disgusting. Ugh. There's nothing more disgusting than a petri dish.
Well, but I mean, look at there was a lot of Corona in LA. A lot of people died.
But then again, on the other hand, survival of the fittest is although we don't really evolve that way these days in the civilized times, when you haven't looked after yourself, or when life has dished you out lemons and you haven't looked after your health, etc., something comes around and you're less immune to it than anyone else, than others. You'll get it and you'll die. That's
very true.
That's what pandemics and plagues do.
Yes. And the ones a lot of the time that are fortunate enough to flee to the country are the ones that survive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Get away from people and you'll survive fine.
So yeah, I managed to get through the whole pandemic with no Corona exposure, and
Yeah, me neither.
You
Did you get vaxxed?
Yes, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, and then I got a booster in December before my friends came over to visit me from Germany. So Austria too. I just had my Austrian friend over. Put him on the plane yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is
So.
that where you're from originally?
No. I was born in California.
Is California in Austria or in
You don't know where California is? Los Angeles?
I've heard of it.
California?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
You've heard of
Would you be
Hollywood? Where movies come from?
I
Hollywood,
used to
California?
buy chewing gum that was called Hollywood. Just the name of it was Hollywood.
Huh. Yeah. Well, where did you grow up, Cindy, if you don't mind me asking?
South
'Cause you,
Africa?
yeah, I was going to say you have a Dutch Afrikaans accent, but I was
Not quite.
not quite. Okay, I'm sorry.
Call me, it's a colonial accent.
Colonial accent.
Yes.
There you go.
And I live in the colonies now, anyway. I live up in Canada.
Ah, cool. Canada's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just up the road from you in Vancouver. So,
Ah.
if you're ever taking your dogs on an extra long walk, stop by. Make you some
I
tea.
I'd love to go up to Canada and train with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They're the most incredible dog handlers in the known universe.
I agree. In fact, there is no other universe other than the Canadian universe.
Which is why you've never heard of California, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't. If it's not within the sovereign borders of the nation of Canada, I don't know about it.
So, Oscar, have you been successful in pinning down a time to tangle with Darth Dawkins?
My dear, what I've done today is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, what happened?
Last week, last week, I
sorry, I was.
I text him. Sorry, I DM in Clubhouse. I sent him a text directly to him through back channel, asking him to come to me next week. This week, right? Saturday or Sunday on the time of his choosing. He can bring his minion, and I'm gonna bring one person, which would be Darth Dawkins debunked. Right? He replied to me, which is my second last video. I posted that, and the guy posted saying that he was yawning, type of thing.
Yeah,
So
I saw that.
So he's taking the piss. Okay, no worries. I can take it. I'm a big man. I can take it. Right. So today I open a clubhouse, right, with the title is Gary Mill, and quote, and in parentheses, DD, a real Christian? Yes, no, and why? And the aim here was to challenge him on different aspects of his behavior. One that I was particularly going to target was his abuse of impersonating a dead person.
I want to hear the answer to that.
It won't, but because that guy, Gary Mill, he was at Clubhouse when I was, right? But he was in another room, right? But I could see him. In another room, right? I mean, I could see the freaking screen. It probably, if somebody, oh no, I didn't record the screen. It doesn't matter. So anyway, I saw him, and some of his people were coming into my room, right? Because I created it. And they were chatting with me, and I was extremely polite to those two. One was Theo, and the other one was Matt. Anyway, that's not here nor there. And Theo, the one that was relaying to me, right? So relaying Darth Dawkins to me. The coward could not come and see me, and what he did is to invite me via this guy Theo to go into another room, like if I have to fucking close my room, yeah, for the sake of having a fair meeting. I said, Theo, I will make you a moderator, right? If you bring that bitch into my room, right? I'm probably not going to treat him nicely, but I'm not going to mute him and or lower the volume like he does, right? He never came in.
How are you going to stop him when he talks and talks and talks and talks and talks?
Well, I'll take it as it comes, yeah. Or just let him wait and he get fucking bored, right?
Okay.
But yeah, it's one or the other, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Zazy's back. Did you find anything?
Yeah. She's been in touch. She's been in touch with. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Oh. Good. So I won't interfere.
You see the court records. The bank put a lien on his house. He lost his house. House.
So he
took his house.
Okay, what date was that?
It's right there. I give you the court.
What date? I can't see. I don't know where it is. I'm in this.
Well, he's got various, right? He's got the earliest one is 2007, and the latest one, the latest one is 2011.
Okay, so he's been living with his mother at least since 2012.
Yes, 2011, 2012 during his divorce.
Right.
And the bank took his house from him.
Yeah, Capital One Bank.
Yeah.
That's fucking nasty. That's nasty. So much of a fucking good Christian being an asshole to everybody. This is better than a payday. Trust me.
Yeah, you got that. Okay, good. You can make a video out of it.
Maybe.
Yes, you see it?
Of course, I can fucking see it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, his record. I give it to you both. Do you see it too? Right?
I don't see it because I got my hands full with running the stream.
Yeah. I'll pass it to him later once he finishes. Or he can check it out later.
You probably put it in one of the text chats or something, or whatever. Anyway, I'll get it. Well, maybe I don't even need it because look out. Number one will do a better job than I will. Because he's better at analyzing. I just put it out there.
Wait, I mean, can I?
What's 10-year-old news, Bill?
Okay, I'm gonna back chat to you something. Yeah, I need information of something.
Well, can I give it to you on Hangouts? Can I hand it over to you on Hangouts, Sidney?
You can do on chat.
Okay. I'll give it to you on Hangout. Then let me see how I can. Yeah,
just like you always do.
Yeah, because I gave it. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Okay, let me see if I can download it from my phone again, or from my, because I left my computer because it was on my computer. But I'll give it to you. I just have to re-download it.
All right. There's no rush. It's okay. Today, now. I'm sorry.
What? Can I? What you send me? Can I send it to Sidney?
Oh yes. You can give it to Sidney.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I don't know how the fuck I do that, but more reply P message.
So I want to put out a public service announcement to Darth Dawkins. Watch out! Shit's gonna hit the fan. Stuff is gonna hit the internet. Your whole life is going to be unraveled. Your mask will be pulled off and you will be shown to be a gormless, spineless, angry, grumpy, old man. Have a nice day. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, now I know what course it is. Okay, so now what I can do is actually do a video, me doing the search. That would be fucking fun. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, that's cool.
Is Gary an only child, by the way?
I don't think so. I think he has mentioned, it could be false, but he has mentioned that he's got an older brother. I have heard him say that.
Have you? Okay, I've never said anything. But then again, everything Gary says is a lie. So
Right. So take it with a salt of grain.
take it with.
Salt of sugar.
Take your grain of
Grain-
salt and put a grain of salt in it.
Yes, something like that.
What's next?
Oh fucking hell! What's next?
Well, we could carry on watching.
No. You do your. Enlighten us.
Well, all right. Keep your eyes peeled.
Because I cannot access. Yeah, go on. Sorry, my bad.
You cannot access what?
I cannot access you as a private to send you a link because you are streaming.
Right.
I think that's the problem.
Maybe. Huh? Oh shit! What happened to you? Okay. However, you can see the screen with the lion, can you? I'm gonna have to turn my.
I can see it.
I'm screen sharing.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to turn my camera off because it's gonna ruin my computer if I don't. Analyzing the video while my dog barks at me and I try to find out what the hell she wants. Come on, man, what's going on? Oh. Hang on a sec. I'm waiting to get the go ahead. Hold on, Jenny. The go ahead to turn my camera off. Oh, I think we're going. The system's starting to flash. I don't know why. So if it goes dead, hang in there. I'll be back. You'll know I've caught up when my camera switches off because I turned it off quite a while back ago. Oh, I think it's about to go off. All right. Look how slowly it happens. All right, let's go.
Exactly what I'm talking about, Joe. You're being
So-
an asshole right now.
I read this argument
Yeah, be
against you,
real.
and
Slowness.
I'm DM.
Excuse me? What's that?
I'm guessing if you click on the link, once you go inside of it, you'll be able to pull more information out of it. Yeah, because the link, the court records are the one in the middle in blue are hyperlinks. That means it's got more information behind it.
Okay, we're gonna. I'm gonna carry on running the video. See if I can
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it to play. Okay. It's choppy.
I just wanted to say that dances fucking asshole. No, look, this is all I want to say. There's no need.
Oh, there's people in here. Can they hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it one more time, Joe. I'll never talk to you again. You'll go on my fucking troll list.
Are they talking to you and me in the
No,
stream?
no, it's a video.
Are you in there with them?
No,
Are
it's a
both of
video.
you in there?
It's a video now.
Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 people in the stream, and Sidney is trying to stream a video with 4 of us there.
Uh-oh, what's that? Is that me?
That's your side. That's your PC and smoke.
I know. All right,
Shit.
let's carry on.
Yeah, you're pushing it, man. You're pushing it.
Okay, I'm going to start pedaling faster.
I don't care what you think.
don't care about anybody, obviously, man.
Okay,
That's why
good.
you're
If you
talking
want
to
to
people.
if you want to sit there and attack me personally, be my guest. I'm quite accustomed to that.
So now you're playing
Joe,
victim.
now Joe, I ask you a question. Do you want to
Why
look
you
at
why
the
are you
camera,
playing the
tell me
victim and
the
trying to
truth,
bully
and you are
Joe?
not deliberately in the midst of a civil conversation
Why are you
saying
trying to
something
bully
to
Joe?
deliberately piss me off, Joe?
He didn't say anything that was out of line. Why are
Okay,
you trying to
Arcane,
bully Joe?
I'm speaking to Joe.
I'm
I really don't want to
speaking
have
to
to turn your
you.
volume. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
okay,
speaking to
Arcane,
you.
I'm gonna turn your volume now.
The only sense that I think it would piss you
Hold
off
on,
is if Randy
you're
argument.
streaming, but there's no sound.
I
Not streaming. You press play, but without sound.
that's different
You can't hear it?
what the Pal Talk
No.
rooms run. So I was speaking about that with respect to what I
It's not
argued
coming
with
through.
you
Is that what I'm saying?
before. I didn't know it
No.
would make you like.
Hey, you got a freaking minimum. No. Display that. Look, you got the volume down 18%. What are you talking about?
In
What volume down?
the
80%.
debates about
Yeah,
Are you trying to
oh fuck yeah, of course I. Wake up.
as much as I was
Okay,
trying
I
to
will
when I
one man.
mentioned the Max Suck thing.
And besides, trying
no,
to
I mean,
get
if
the
you
that
get
volume.
upset,
that's tongue in cheek. No,
This video
you
started.
you know what? I'm not gonna talk.
See, he's just yelling and
30 now. You have to put at least 80%.
No, I'll put 100% for the next one.
Well, I said at least, so sure.
Okay. We'll go
Right.
to the next one right away because that's the one I really want to talk to. You know, figure out. All right, we got the next one. This is if you know who Skylar Fiction is.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. This is from him, also 2016.
You say that a loving God was truly loving if he forces someone to love him back?
I think there's a distinction right there, Bunto. I think there's a distinction in what Bunto's saying, though. Because he's not saying for him to force them to love him. He's just saying to basically give them knowledge, basically. Like, hey, why don't you try to have a relationship? Like an actual relationship, not like a relationship where the only information we have is from what we read in the Bible, basically. Right? Like, hey, here's God in front of me, talking to me, having a relationship, telling me what he wants, saying how much he cares about me. That would be fair and honest. He doesn't have to force me to love him. He just needs to basically, would be nice if he would appear to me and actually have a conversation. If the consequences are so great, right? If the consequences, which are like our eternal hell and torture, even if it's just annihilation, it's still pretty bad because this is an eternity of relationship with God you're missing out on, right? This is the most amazing thing that could ever happen to you, to happen to your soul. And then you miss out on all that. Yeah.
Do you understand that you caused the separation between yourself and God when you sin?
So I'm that powerful? Well, yeah, exactly. And you know who set up that scenario, right? Because everything that exists within our reality is because of God. So if God created part of a reality that sin would separate us from him, whose ultimate fault is that?
Well, if you know what sin is, then it would be the sinner's fault, because sin is like, if I'm this is my opinion here, but sin is disobeying God's directive, disobeying God's order, or pretty much going against the word and the will of God, and his commandments, or his, what he's laid out as rules. And if he puts these here for our safety and everything like that, I mean, for whatever reason, he puts them there, and we don't have to know why.
LOL.
It's just that when we do sin, we cause a separation, and we have to understand that him as a judge, he judges sin by death. One sin equals death. So he has given us grace by not being here and not judging us for our sins now, and giving us plenty of time and chance to repent of our sins and turn away from our sins, so we can be forgiven. Because if we have, here's the thing: when we get forgiveness with Jesus Christ and everything, when we're saved and we receive the Holy Spirit, our sin debt is wiped clean. Therefore, there is no reason for there to be separation. Therefore, there is no separation.
Well, there'd be no debt in the first place if you didn't create that system, though. I'm sorry to cut you off at the end. I apologize. But there'd be no debt in the first place if God didn't create a system in which debt could exist. And then also, how do I know what system is sin? and what is disobedience to God, without just assuming that the Bible is true. At least from the context of a Christian, right? I'm a deist. I believe in God. We have
what?
beliefs, yeah.
You know what, Skylar? You said, how do I know? But you know what came to my mind? That's why it's faith.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, but that's fine. But that's not. I don't have a problem with a Christian having faith in a God. That's absolutely fine. You want to have faith in a God? Go for it, right? But it's kind of separated from what he was just arguing, because he's arguing that we know what sin is. That like they almost begging the question, and I'm not trying to be argumentative in this, but like it's assuming in the premise that we know that what sin is, and that we know that there is sin, and we know that the Christian God is the Christian God, and that is our actual God here. So but the bigger thing, I think the bigger picture, even if we get rid of all that, is if God had not set the debt of sin, the wages of sin would be death, then the wages of sin wouldn't be death, right? The wages of sin could have been anything God chose, right? He could have punished humans by, instead of an eternal hell, he could be like, well, I'm just going to separate you for 10 years, 10 human years from me, and then we'll work something out. But no, it's, according to Christians, it's either like an nihilistic kind of view, which I respect a lot more, or it's this eternal hellfire.
Why is that a problem?
What, like in what sense? Like, why is it a problem to me?
There he comes.
You want to know my personal opinion on it?
Why is it a problem that the Bible teaches eternal punishment?
Oh, well, because in my opinion, it's
maybe because it's supposed to be all loving.
It's actually very sick to punish somebody for all eternity for not believing.
Nonsensical, illogical.
Okay. All right, hold on. Do you assume that your reasoning is the final authority?
Here's what we're gonna do, Darwin. I'm not gonna allow you to ask me a bunch of questions. You can ask me 2 questions, so I'll give you this one and one more question, and then you have to let me ask you 2 questions. If you're willing to do that, I'm willing to do that.
Before you guys do that, I want to address what you said to me. It'd be really quick.
Please. Yeah, I did say something.
I love it how I ask questions and it's completely dodged and avoided.
Well, you never actually demonstrate your argument, but spoken. Let's let spoken, because I did say something. I don't want to get too far away. Yeah, go ahead.
You guys can get right back to it afterwards.
Yeah, please.
But you were saying roughly along the lines of I had a lot of concussion, so forgive me if my memory's really bad.
No, it's okay.
But
if you need to clarify something, just ask. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Along the lines of like we know, or how humans just instinctually know what sin is. I just like to give a quick verse. This is Romans 2. I'm gonna start at Romans chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse 13 and just go to about 16. I'm not gonna read to say it's just 2 verses. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts. Their conscience also bears witness, and their...
Tell me something. What is the use of people reading from the scriptures to atheists? We know that the scriptures are fairy tales. We know that. What does a Christian think he's doing when he reads scripture to an atheist, like this guy's doing?
Thoughts, the mean.
I think they think that the scripture is some sort of inherent objective truth, rather than just some stories. So when they read it, it's like they're declaring that gravity is 9.82 meters per second.
I understand that, but they're just reading from a storybook, and
we know they don't think so though.
But we know that they're reading from a storybook. They know that we think they're reading from a storybook. Yeah. So what is the point of reading from a storybook?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like arguing why the Eagles didn't just take Frodo to Mount Doom in the first place. Like, it's just
that's because the writer didn't write it that way.
Exactly.
Same with the Bible. The writer didn't write it the way he could have written it, so that the God might actually look somehow come across as being believable.
Yeah.
But the way they've presented it,
I think they don't.
Go ahead.
I think in part they never asked the question, why did they write it this way? Like, because they're telling allegories and stories and metaphors and teaching parables and things like that, not writing down frickin' history. And I think that's where they get lost. They don't stop to think, like, you know, if you look at the story of like some of the horrible stories, or even just the ridiculous stories like the striped sticks and stuff, like why did they write those stories? Like they're sermons, right, that have just, you know, gotten written down because they're popular. Like, but they treat
Exactly.
them like these are literal truths
They
versus
treat them as if
parables and stories.
yeah,
It's
they treat
ridiculous.
it as if the person who started writing or came up with the story is actually didn't do it himself, but through some kind of divine revelation.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of nonsense? What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah. And they don't seem to acknowledge that some of these were just stories to convey a message, to convey morality stories, to convey, you know, lessons to children. Don't do this or this will happen. Like,
I can't
it's
prove.
just
I can't prove that the angel Moroni did not dictate from the plates or whatever. However, Joseph Smith got his message up from the heavens. I have no reason to disbelieve him over, or I have no reason to believe him any more than I have a reason to believe anything said about the Jesus.
Yeah. Tell me why a raven opening a cockle shell to let the humans out into the world is any better or worse story than Genesis. Like, it really isn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just written in different times, and some are more relatable to us than others, some situations.
Well, and I always find it funny, too, that these stories, like here in Australia, when you look at the Aboriginal stories or the one I just conveyed, which is like a Native American one, they're really, really tied to the local environment. And that to me just says, like, speaks such high.
That says that these people are
corroboration to these are, and they're just creating stuff based on what they see around them.
Yeah.
Now, if a Haida creation story talked about a god creating a golem out of dust and breathing life into it and then pulling a rib out, well, maybe then you'd have something. But if you look at the the Incan stories or the Mexican, well, what's now Mexico, and or all those stories, they're all simply about the local world around them. And same with the Bible stories, right? It's about deserts and flocks and all that kind of stuff. So I don't get why that's not so bloody obvious, I guess. Sorry to interrupt, but it's just such silliness when you say, like, the whole reading scripture out to people as if like you're making an argument is just so tiresome.
It's like trying to lower our gullibility or our intellect to say, okay, if I am read the Bible, I become more dumber. If that makes any fucking sense. You say, oh yeah,
I guess it's
you
just
read. Yeah, go on.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say yes. I think you've got something there too, because like it's an easy recipe book. I don't have to think hard about anything. I just look it up in this book and it'll tell me what to do.
Right.
Except the instructions are
confusing.
They're not meant to help you. They're meant to suppress you, to repress you. It's all negative. All negative. Just pray. Pray, 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 pray. That's the positive. Yeah. That's the positive statement. Pray, pray, pray.
Yeah.
Pray for today. Only read one book. For fuck's sake, do not read lots of.
I propose that the Bible should not be available to be read to minors. I think you have to be at least be a teenager before you can start reading the Bible or be introduced to the Bible, so that your mind doesn't.
Well, how about?
Yeah.
I said, how about
if religion?
Hold on, let Alpha has a question.
Well,
in the library, why don't we move the Bible to the fiction section? I've been saying it belongs in the fiction section since I was 12. You know,
it absolutely belongs in the fiction section. And if I haven't been to the library in a while, but and I've never looked up where the Bible is when I have gone to the library. But if it's not in the fiction section, I'm gonna write my councilman or my I'm not gonna do anything.
The mythology section is probably where it belongs. Yeah.
Yeah, mythology. There you go. All right. You want to hear more of what's coming up? The shit show that's coming up.
Yeah, it's always fun to hear Skylar yell at him. Yeah.
Okay.
The mean while accusing or else excusing one another. So it's pretty much saying that the laws are written in our hearts as human beings, and yeah,
right.
That's why we know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's if you accept the Bible as an authority. I mean, we have to get to that point where you even accept that. But I get what you're saying. I understand.
Okay. I asked you a question.
Sure. Like I said, you're going to get two questions. This one and one other one. And then I'm going to, if you agree, hold on, Darwin.
I heard what you had to say.
Okay, but I want to make sure you agree to these terms. But I want to, are you going to agree to these terms?
I heard what you had to say. Now, I asked you a question. Is your reasoning the final authority?
If you agree to my terms, which is you can ask me two questions,
and then I'll answer any questions you want. I'll be glad to answer them.
2 and 2. Okay, so your first question, please repeat.
Question: is your reasoning the final authority as to what is the case in reality?
Yes.
For him, yeah, of course.
This says Darwin will ask that question over and over, and at the end will claim, "I never answered his question." He's on the ball, Skylar.
Second question.
Okay, good. How do you know, given your finite limitations, that anything that you reason is true and correct and cannot be wrong?
Sure, because some things that I reason I can actually test and demonstrate. Okay, so now my turn for my question. You claim objective morals exist. I would like you to demonstrate objective morals exist in which...
I never said that.
You do not believe that objective morals exist?
I have never said that objective morals.
Okay. So then
that's your first question. Next question.
Okay, good, beautiful. Please demonstrate that objective morals exist within the framework that you believe in the Christian God without asking me a question.
I didn't say that objective morals exist.
Didn't say that you did. I'm just asking you to do that, please.
Okay, well, I don't argue that objective morals exist.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Go ahead.
Okay, so those are two questions.
Sure.
Now, you said that you can test things in order to know that something is true and correct where you cannot be wrong, right?
Yes, one question. Go ahead.
Okay, good. No, I'm just clarifying what you already
that was a question. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sidney, your bandwidth is
sorry
is
about
struggling.
that. Sorry about that. I pressed a button and it should all come back pretty quick.
You're not praying hard enough, Sidney.
Oh, I'm praying as hard as I can.
Conformity of nature is true, and would it also have to be true that the laws of logic are universal and absolute?
I don't know. Next question.
Okay, then how can you, if you do not know, then what are the
You got interference.
Yeah. I love this question from Darth when somebody says, "I don't know," and then he goes on to ask for an explanation. Like, it kind of stops at, "I don't know, you doofus."
Right. Or he's trying to say, make some shit up. I just want to prove you wrong. He's so fucking dumb.
But once you've asked, "I don't know," then he says, "Well, can you explain it?" Or, "What's your explanation for X?" It's just like, he's already said, "I don't know." Like, why are you asking clarification questions on "I don't know"? He does that all the time.
Yeah, but you know what? The people who answer, I've noticed is that some people that answer say, "Oh, but you did you tell a lie before that?" When they have to change a little bit.
Yeah. People should push harder back on him when he says that, when he just restates, like, when he
because God says so to comport ourselves with his character. Now, my question to you is
No,
this.
wait, no, I get two questions. That was the first one.
Go ahead.
You didn't say yes, it was objective. So is that so I want to clarify, because you didn't actually answer the question. I asked you if morality was objective, and you didn't answer. You just talked about God's nature. So
no, I told you I don't argue. I don't use phraseology such as objective morality exists. I've already explained that to you several times.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you what kind of language you use. I'm asking you by definition is by definition God's morality objective? That was the question.
God does not have morality. God's character is an objective fact of reality, and we have an obligation to comport ourselves with his character because he says so.
I'd like you to demonstrate that.
Okay, no, because he says so.
I'd like you to demonstrate that.
Okay, no, because he says so.
And it's not actually because he says so. It's because the Bible says so.
Now, for my second question.
Okay, good. The answer that he demonstrates it because he always tells the truth and he cannot be wrong.
Because the Bible says so. I agree with you on that one.
Now, you said you know you're not God. Is that by virtue that your reasoning is reliable?
It's by definition.
Okay, why should I accept your definition?
You don't have to. I'm just using the Christian definition.
Okay, good. So you can't. So in other words,
remember
you're
that line
giving
was from
me
someone
a
who insists on his
defense,
definition of God, by the way.
and you can't demonstrate that it is the case that you are not God.
Oh, I can demonstrate it. You're just not going to accept the demonstration.
Okay, is your demonstration that you are not God by virtue of your reason where you cannot be wrong?
By definition, I can't be wrong on this specific thing.
What do you mean, you can't be wrong?
Because if I was your God, right? The example you use is God can't lie. Well, I'm not your God. If I was your God, I would now be lying to you by saying that I'm not your God. So by definition, God, I can't be your God. So I can. So we can all know. And I've just demonstrated. Is there anybody in this room that disagrees that I've not demonstrated that I am not your God?
Are you arguing by virtue of the law of non-contradiction?
I am arguing by definition that I am not your God, and that is one thing that I can know.
Okay, I asked you a question.
Can you define the law of non-contradiction?
Hold on a second. I will repeat the question that he did not answer.
Okay.
Is your argument founded and rooted by virtue of the law of non-contradiction?
Is it rooted in the law of non-contradiction? I believe contradictions are invalid, and then I think that is invalid for me to say that.
I'm not asking you what you believe.
Okay. Well, maybe clarify what you mean by your statement, because I don't know. Maybe I'm not understanding.
I'll ask you the question. Is your argument that you know something for certain based upon the law of non-contradiction is absolute and universal?
I don't think I've made a assertion that the law of non-contradiction is universal.
I didn't ask you if you made an assertion. I said, is your argument that you are using, is it dependent upon the law of non-contradiction?
No, it's dependent on both of us agreeing to the same terms that...
no, it has nothing to do
I'm not finished. You're talking over me. So it's dependent on the fact that we both agreed that contradictions are invalid. If we both agree, I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking, Darwins. I'm not done talking. Thank you. So it is dependent. I appreciate that. So it is dependent on the idea, in order for me to prove my argument and demonstrate it, that we have some basic assumptions we agree on. If we both agree that contradictions are invalid, and I can show you an actual contradiction, then we both agree it's invalid, and that's what my argument falls onto.
Okay, you and I do not share basic worldviews, so there is not a substantive agreement. Now, I'm going to ask you.
This is your second question.
No, that's not my second question. I just made a statement. That's all. A statement is not. You know what? I would appreciate having an adult conversation with you instead of you acting like a teenager.
I would like less ad hominem attacks, but
I'm not giving you an ad hominem attack. I'm making an observation that you're acting like a teenager.
All right, well, get to your point.
Okay. Well, I'd like to have an adult conversation with you.
I would like to too.
I made a brief rebuttal statement. Now, when you are making an argumentation that you are not God, is your argument inherently depending on the truthfulness of the law of non-contradiction?
No, I just explained my answer to you.
Okay, so your argument is not using one of the prime laws of logic?
No, my argument is relying on that me and you both agree that contradictions are invalid. This is your second question, by the way. So I'm going to answer.
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you what you believed.
Okay, re-ask the question.
I said, is your argument dependent upon the assumption that the law of non-contradiction is universal?
No.
Okay, so basically, your argument does not employ the fundamental laws of logic?
No. Okay, and that's the second answer. That's the second question.
No.
That was the second question.
Wait, so you just admitted your argument was?
He just said.
I explained it. But the problem is
he just said that his reasoning does not employ or depend on the laws of logic. Did everybody hear that?
No. What I meant.
Yeah. You did say that, dude.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify then, just to make sure everyone understands. And if I misspoke, I apologize. Hey, Darwin, can I speak? Thanks. So I'm going to go back because what he's doing is just asking the same question over and over again. And I answered it pretty clearly. What my argument depends on in order to demonstrate this argument is that all it depends on is us agreeing, the people having the argument in the room, that contradictions are invalid. Now, unless Darwin in his worldview doesn't believe contradictions are invalid, my argument is demonstrated. So what he wants to do is he wants to basically keep asking questions that aren't relevant to it, right? And he's asked 3 or 4 questions, but he keeps claiming he hasn't asked any. But that's what it was relevant on. Of course, I argue with logic, right? All I'm claiming is, but I'm not making the assertion that the laws of logic are universal because I don't have a way to demonstrate that.
Okay, good. I'd like to respond now. Okay, the mistake that you keep on making, and this is about the 4th time that you said it, that there is an agreed upon basis that in both of our worldviews, because you're speaking from your worldview, I'm speaking from my worldview, you fallaciously claimed that there was an agreement that the laws of logic exist in both respective worldviews. I never agreed to that. So you need to stop repeating that. I do not agree that from within your worldview, it can be demonstrated that the laws of logic are universal. Now, I will ask you again, is the argument and the reasoning that you are employing, okay, I have 2 questions. Is the reasoning and the argument that you're employing dependent upon the laws of logic? Yes or no? That's my first question.
Okay, first, you said something that I didn't assert. I asserted that we both agree that contradictions are invalid. That we agree on.
No.
That's what you do. You do not agree with that.
I do not agree that from your worldview.
That's not what I said.
Valid.
I didn't say from my worldview.
I don't agree with your worldview. So please stop saying that.
That's fine. You don't have to agree with my worldview, but you do agree in your worldview.
Please stop putting words in my mouth.
Okay. Do you not believe that? Do you not believe contradictions are invalid?
I am not asking you to discuss my worldview at the moment. I asked you a question. Now I will ask you the question again. And he will either answer the question or he will dodge. Now, here's my question for you. Is your reasoning right now and your argumentation dependent upon the laws of logic?
It's dependent on my statements being logical and us agreeing that contradictions are invalid.
You did not answer my question.
You can say that. That's fine. And we just disagree.
Is your argument and reasoning dependent upon the law of identity, law of non-contradiction, and the law of excluded middle?
Maybe.
The answer should be yes.
Okay. Is the answer yes, no, or I don't know?
You know, Darwin, since the fact you won't even answer a simple question like, do you believe contradictions are invalid? Why am I going to allow you to keep
dodging?
No, because you've asked me 4 questions, Darwin. You've asked me question after question, and you're interrupting me now. You're over-talking me once again. This is what you do. Yeah, but dodging is not an excuse to overtalk me. I believe we have rules in this room, and the rules in this room is for the other. You're still doing it.
Good.
I thought you get so angry when people overtalk you. Thank you. I appreciate that again. So once again, what Darwin is doing is he's trying to actually escape any kind of holding to any kind of position, right? Because this is his tactical argument, is to try to keep focusing on what I believe, right? So I asked him a question. First, I asked him to demonstrate objective morality exists. Then he's trying to do this weird thing where he doesn't really claim objective morality by definition, which is very strange. It's the only Christian I've ever met that doesn't believe in objective morality. He avoided that. Avoided saying that he believes contradictions are invalid in his worldview, which is also very strange. Why not just say yes? We may have different reasons for why we came to this, like why we believe contradictions are invalid, but there's no harm in actually agreeing to that. The problem is he understands my point, and my point stands. If we both agree on definitions, if we both agree in our worldviews, now we may have different reasons we come to our worldviews, but if in both our worldviews we agree that contradictions are invalid, and then I show a contradiction, that would make that invalid. Darwin, please go on.
Is your reasoning and your argumentation dependent on the truthfulness that the laws of logic, the law of identity, non-contradiction, and excluded middle are universal and invariant?
What it's dependent on is that when I make an argument and I'm having an argument with somebody, is that we agree on certain terms. That's what it's dependent on.
Question.
Yes, it is.
No,
You just
I don't think he either because there's like you guys are just going in the hamster wheel here.
Yeah.
Either he can't answer the question, or maybe he's not understanding it the way you're posing it or something. But
if he wants to reframe it, I'm happy to hear how he's reframing it. But I think what he's leading. He's trying. What he does. This is like presuppositional at its best. Like they have a script that they use, and this is the script, and he's trying to get me to a certain point, and I'm not going to answer the questions he wants me to answer. I'm going to answer them in a truthful and honest way, and that's what my argument is dependent on. What you're doing is you're strawmanning me. You're creating my argument for me and saying this is how you're arguing, when what my argument is that as long as we agree that contradictions are invalid in both of our worldviews, then I can demonstrate that they are invalid. Go ahead.
That's the fifth time that you said that. I do not agree with anything in your worldview. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
you don't believe
the question is so malformed.
I do not believe that you can demonstrate from within your worldview that contradictions are always invalid. Now, my question to you is this: it's a very simple question.
I don't give a shit about whatever you say. I am right. That's basically in essence what he's saying.
And he's not asking, does your argument depend on logic? He's saying, should it? Now, I could make an argument that's completely independent of all logical construction and meaning whatsoever. It's still my argument.
Right.
Like, does it and should it are two very, very different questions. And this is one of those slippery ways that Darth there tries to steer the conversations, right? Because it's not the right question.
He seems to be of the opinion, hey, El, you got a lot of distortion and something coming.
Oh, it might be my.
Yeah,
I think my cable is rubbing. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe just mute while you're not talking. There you go.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. I don't know why I'm on a headset, but I will.
Oh, it was you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, and I was blaming Sidney.
Well, I mean, I understand why.
That's usually safe. That's usually safe. Yeah.
I actually mentioned in the side chat, but I don't know, Al, if you saw my @ signal. I was like, I'm happy to see you, but your microphone is very fuzzy.
Oh, that's weird because I'm like on a really high quality headset, and that must have just been something rubbing or something.
It sounds like a loose connection of some sort. There's a contact.
Yeah, it might be that. I'll mute and then see what I can fix. Yep.
Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was talking about, so should we just carry on?
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to say something that when Darth in this particular conversation is dealing with a full-blown mongoose, okay, and Darth's a cobra, but Cobra, he's a cobra that is like depicted in like the Rudyard Kipling story of like Ricky Tikki Tavi, you know, where he's this deceptive, sneaky, you know what I mean? Never confronts a dangerous enemy directly.
Yeah.
Always has to around the back, you know what I mean? And strike when you least expect it. But that cobra analogy, I think also of Darth is when he's not able to guide his victim down his little script, then he has to like dive in grease and just grease himself from one end to the other. And that's when he starts to just twist and flip
Right.
and get.
That's a great analogy.
And the fact is in this mongoose situation, Skylar's a full blown fucking mongoose.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, this I am not your god argument, I think is one of the best atheist arguments that's ever been presented just to any pre-supper ever. And I actually think it's a finishing move to those who don't know how to dive into the oil and start death rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
this is what I hear is that the death roll is when he just starts vomiting out this word salad. You know, it's like this chopped piece salad with like fucking seven. It's like a pretentious salad. You know, it's got 700.
yes.
Don't know what the hell is in it. You know what I mean? There's too many flavors. It's overwhelming. It's like, is this good?
And nothing really complements the other.
Exactly. You know, it's there's no marriage of flavors. It's a cacophony of clashing, you know, I don't know what. And you're supposed to just sit there and eat it. And I just take one bite and go, blah.
I smell it first, and if it doesn't smell good, I'm not biting.
Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe it's my Unitarian Universalist upbringing, but I always.
Oh, I'd like to talk to you about that one someday.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
Yeah, we can. I'd love to.
I have been informed by very very respected people, like my friend Randolph Richardson, who has said that not all atheists.
Yeah, he's great. He said what?
And as uber cool as the church that I attend. I went to one, was just fucking amazing. But
Unitarian?
Yes, he's describing some of the Unitarian Universalists in Canada as being very close-minded and preachy. And
I have a story about I have a personal testimony.
Oh, please do. I'll shut up.
I am not a religious man, nor do I believe that God exists. In fact, I know that that God does not exist. That none of them exist. All gods are imaginary. However, back when I was, I hadn't been in Canada very long. I was working as a sort of an auditor, accountant, and I happened to be at a site, and some of the bookkeepers there. I was there for quite a while because when you audit, you go there every single day. Anyway, I got friendly with the bookkeepers there, and one of them got married while I was doing the audit, and so I was invited to the wedding, and it was at the Universalist or the Universalist Church, whatever they called it. The Unitarian Church. I had no idea what Unitarian really is. I didn't care because it said church, and any church is just Christian as far as I'm, and Jesus is not Jesus is a myth. So anyway, I went to the wedding at the church, and lo and behold, was I ever amazed that it was almost like a humanistic experience. It was as if God doesn't really exist, but we're here and everybody is welcome. It was really nice. I was surprised. I really was surprised. Why they call it a church, I still don't know.
They call it a church because it has a congregation, it has choir, it has some degree of discussion, worship.
Why can't they just call it a neighborhood house?
Huh?
A neighborhood house.
Sounds like a community center as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Sidney, where was the church? You said neighborhood house?
No. What I'm saying is, instead of calling it a church, call it something else.
Oh, well, I don't know. The church that I went to, maybe this is revealing
I'm not
too
saying
much.
don't call it Unitarian. Just don't call it a Unitarian church. It's a Unitarian.
And there's also Unitarian Universalists, and there's just Universalists.
Oh God, that sounds like that's a long conversation.
But I went to strictly a UU church, a Unitarian Universalist church, and the structure of it was the adults listened to the sermon, the kids listened to like 15 or 20 minutes of the sermon, and then were dismissed to religious education. And this was not what it sounds like. No, it's not an uh-oh at all.
You said religious, and then you said education in the same sentence. Oh my God, it's scary.
I know, but picture this. I think this is the closest thing to true religious education as you're going to get. We learned about all of the major faiths, and we learned about their holidays, and we learned about their customs, and this was, I think, at the time, was highly experimental for educating tolerance, because this was the goal of it in our religious education system. And just to let you know kind of how off the wall these guys were, we watched The Last Temptation of Christ.
I haven't seen that myself yet.
Oh, that's a blasphemous as fuck movie, man. And we watched it. I was 14 years old. And they let everybody know, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to show a bunch of 14-year-old kids this R-rated religious movie and discuss it. And the parents were pretty much like, no problem. My mother was the only one that threw an absolute.
Why your mother? Why was she? What is she?
My mother wasn't real.
She's a conservative Unitarian. You're still buzzing. Al.
Oh man, I thought I fixed it. No. I'm using my good one too.
If you...
Still? Sorry. All right, I'm done. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, just keep it. I don't mind if you're talking, but if you're not, just keep it on mute.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but
sure, go ahead.
I'll see if... Yeah, no, it's all right. I forgot what it is.
Okay. See what's going Pop in again when you remember. All right. Sorry, Alpha.
Oh, no problem whatsoever. I was just saying that, we learned about all different faiths. And by the time I was about 15 years old, I was invited to join the Bible discussion group. And what that was about was studying the Bible from an atheistic perspective. Oh. It had nothing to do with religion or God or worship or any of it. We literally did things like tear apart the story of Jacob and Isaac, the story where God tells, I'm sorry, no, it was Jacob and Abraham. I'm sorry, now I'm mixing it up. But
I'll tell you where I got stuck.
The dad is told by God to take his son up on the mountain and basically chop him up a altar animal, and then at the last second before the dagger falls, God comes out and goes, no, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure that you would do whatever the fuck I told you to do.
You know what? Alpha?
And so it was really fun because at one point I devised this whole B story about how Abraham's wife overheard that he was going to do this shit.
Oh, well, you know what? And Isaac is probably the first case of PTSD recorded in him. Isaac would have had PTSD from this, correct?
You would think.
You'd think. And does the Bible say anything about how Isaac felt? Nothing.
No. No, but the alternative narrative we constructed was that it was Isaac's mother that saved his ass by constructing a giant, you know, director's cone, and from behind a rock and using an acoustical effect in the wall. Uh, After screaming herself hoarse, no, 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 she came upon the mountain and said, "Do not sacrifice our son, for you have proven yourself worthy," and then slunk off into the distance. And we were all just having a laugh about this. Unitarians were not people that were reverential towards the Bible or that took it seriously whatsoever. And to give you another example, our pastor was replaced. He was an old, kind of old, wrinkly white guy, and was replaced by an out lesbian woman. And she led the congregation, I think, for 40 years from that point forward. So, what kind of church in the 80s has an out lesbian woman as the person who delivers the sermon from the pulpit? I don't know. So I agree with you 100%. I don't think the church is the right word. But our place was called the neighborhood church, and it should have been called the neighborhood house, you know, because that's kind of what it was. It was all I felt when I was in that place was a whole lot of humanism and brotherhood and true acceptance, and a lot of incredibly smart people, you know, having these really challenging discussions about what it means to believe things.
Let me ask you a question. What is the difference in your eyes between humanism and Unitarianism?
They were practically synonymous at one point, because the truth is, Sidney, I don't know if you know this, but secular humanist was originally designed as a swear word for that
Really?
fundamental
I didn't know that.
values against really super liberal faiths. You know what I mean? So, or groups that were basically atheistic and were looking to do some sort of good for mankind in general. You know, and humanist alone isn't a swear word, but they would say secular.
Oh, I'll fight you for that. I'll fight you to
Exactly.
the death.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And yeah. As far as I know, that's the truth. That's something that came from the white American fundamentalist Christian right, trying to demean non-religious groups from doing humanist work, charity work, Red Cross type of stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
we can cover that.
And yeah, it was literally the atheist N word, and now we've completely taken it back, and we're like, yeah, I'm a secular.
Well, you know the normalizing
No?
atheist movement. We're it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Proud member since the age of 12.
Ah, me since the age of 9. Oscar,
What's that?
how long have you been a proud member?
Probably since birth.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong.
Fair enough.
I've never been a believer.
Excellent.
Is
You
my
see
mic
this?
any better? I changed the.
No, it's the same.
Oh, I changed the input settings.
There's
so
still a buzz.
Fuck.
Constant buzz.
Yeah, it is. That's actually interference. You know, like when you got a mobile and it's next to your PC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
but it's a
that could be.
continuous buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because this is the one I
Yeah.
use for
Switch off
everything. and it's usually
everything
fine,
besides your
so-
computer.
Yeah, I usually did. That's good. Anyway, I changed the input sensitivity, but obviously that wasn't enough. So anyway,
Right.
I tried.
I did have a period, I think, from when I was very young. My grandmother on my mother's side was full on fundy, and she had, and I loved her, of course, and she had some degree of influence on me. But I effectively gave up. I started to test the power of prayer, I think, at around 10 and a half, 11, and by the age of 12, I'm like, I'm done with this.
What? You mean it didn't work? Did not even one prayer come true?
Yeah, maybe because I was praying for the same thing every day, and it seemed like such a
because I had an instance where I sort of had a prayer for something, and it came true, but then I thought about how it could be coincidence that it came true, and I tried to convince myself how it couldn't be coincidence, and I was under 10 anyway. I was under 9, and I couldn't convince myself that my wish, which came true, couldn't have happened just randomly by chance. And I've never really I've just gone forward from there, moved
yes.
forward from there.
It's kind of like Sidney picked up Occam's razor and started shaving with it at a very young age.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said.
And then it's like, you shaved with it until it was dull, and then you sort of fold it up and set it down. It's like, no, don't need this anymore.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
when I had it, and
yeah, somebody else can pick up the razor, sharpen it, and use it.
Yeah, right. It's pearl handled. It has value. You save the fucking thing. Always ready to hand it over to that non-believer that's having that crisis of faith, maybe, and maybe legitimately so.
Yeah, well, now we have Occam's razor, plus we have the internet.
Wow, look who's here.
Artangelo, welcome. So nice to see you.
Thanks.
Let me make sure that you're got the correct role so that we can hear you and everything. Well, do come in. Look at that. I think I should just leave my computer alone. You know what I mean? And I have to go. I'm gonna turn my video off because my camera off. It's definitely hogging just way too much.
I'll probably have to go as well.
There we go. Oh, it's better. It's
4:40 in the morning. 4:40 here in the morning. Fuck it out.
Okay.
Well, I've been up all day.
You don't have a chat with Artangelo for a bit? Or do you want to? Artangelo, do you want to sit and watch the video with us?
No, I'm leaving. I just quick came in because I made an update here on Discord, but I'll not stay. I'll come another day, okay?
Well, we're multi resourceful here. We're both having a chat at the same time, and sometimes we watch the video. So you don't have to leave for any reason that we are imposing.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to leave. I don't bite hard.
Have you met Alpha K?
Oh, I'm sure he has.
You guys had a conversation?
I talked to so many people, so can be.
I wouldn't remember me. I'm just somebody that gives shit in the live chats.
Oh yeah. Skeptics here as well.
Oh.
Tell you what, we'll put that on the back burner for a bit, and we'll just have a regular hangout. How's that sound? A regular chat talk. As you can hear, my dog is whimpering a little bit. I don't quite know. I think she's missing her boyfriend across the corridor. So I'm going to just go on mute. You guys chat it up. I'll be back in a minute or so.
Who do we have here? We got Lookout, Alpha, and Al Gore.
Yeah, Al Gore's having some mic issues he's trying to sort out, or possibly interference issues.
Oh.
He sounds like he's trying to manage like an Africanized bee colony.
Oh, I heard. Sounds like a cracked speaker, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm no technical expert. Oscar was trying to help him out a little bit, but poor Oscar is.
I'm
Looks
falling
like,
asleep. I'm falling
yeah,
asleep.
he's.
You know what? I'm gone. Have a good one, everybody. Yeah, because I'm talking out of my rear.
Get some rest and join us again.
Yeah. No, I got some serious some shit on Gary that I got acquainted an hour ago in this stream, and I need to mentally prepare because it's fucking dynamite.
Bent. Well, let us know when to join you.
Yeah, no, I probably made a small video. Go, hey Gary, surprise, surprise, something like that, something along those lines. No big deal. So.
Well, you got to make sure you get your rest now that we know that you're a heavy equipment operator. Not
Oh
just,
yeah.
not just a lorry driver, but a fully qualified crane man.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, of course.
So you saw my toy?
Yes.
I'm gonna get a bigger toy, but funny enough, a bigger crane. I call it the Hulk.
I got a little one of those. I got a Bobcat with an excavator.
Oh yeah, I've driven a Bobcat. But I'm not just a crane operator. I drive plant. I move plant, right? So if I'm not using the crane, I'm there in those weird sites, construction sites, moving machinery or taking machinery to a site. I'm bringing it back, or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good little buggy, speed buggy. Yeah, with the old bar at the front. Yeah, put the old brake and whatever. Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah. The ground is really hard here, so I had to have it to set fence posts, and also I'm putting down artificial turf for my dogs to run on, and it requires a pretty heavy piece of equipment because each
Good night,
roll weighs
Oscar.
like.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah. I've managed. I've used big diggers, 14 tonners, 23 tonners. Yeah. Anyway, all good, ladies and gentlemen. Catch you later. Yeah. Bye bye.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So how's your L? How you doing? How you doing with your buzz?
It's gone.
But yeah, it has, isn't it? But we can't hear him talk, unless it's absolutely totally. It's probably not disconnected. He's just not talking. Maybe.
Well, it looks like his mic is open.
Yeah. Well, what we can do is we can carry on. Carry on watching.
Oh, this is just shit.
Oh no. Still buzzing.
Fuck. Okay. There's something conflicting with Discord on my. This is the first time I used it, so I don't know what that is. I'll try and figure it out.
Okay.
Tangela left.
I see that. Do you think Tangela was in here for nefarious reasons?
I don't know. I asked him. He's just been in Israel. I tried to ask him how his trip was, but I don't know if he didn't
I
hear
would
me or
have loved to
something.
have spoken to him about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he apparently just got back from Israel, which is why he's been so quiet on all the playgrounds that he usually inhabits. So.
Well, I'm gonna have a show one day on Zionism, and all us Zionists like me and Artangelo can finally agree on something and have a meeting room like this and actually talk about good stuff like Zionism, the history, and the future, and why I'm a secular Zionist and he's some kind of a, I don't know, Christian Zionist of whatever they call themselves. So that would be a great conversation to have. Artangelo, you are invited to that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. You should try and do it.
Yeah, I think so.
His name like 3 times and expect him to pop in like Beetlejuice.
All right, why don't you try this?
He usually shows up if you start shit talking Darth because he doesn't like that.
Well, we are shit talking Darth right now, so maybe he'll come back. All right, let's do it.
An argument that you are employing, does it depend
I don't think
on the laws of logic being uniform?
I don't put up with his bullshit too much. So.
When he gets really preachy in the side chats, I try and beat him down or invite him into some sort of a moral debate. And he bit once, and then now he avoids me like the plague.
Yeah, he doesn't like that. My big thing, pushing back, was stuff like, you have to produce an alternative to disprove something, and that just kind of hit that whole fallacious reasoning that he has about proving stuff right or wrong. He's just really muddled.
I kind of like his voice, though. I mean, have you guys ever seen Ghostbusters 2? Do you remember Peter McNichol's character, Janusz, the guy who ends up getting possessed and bringing on the end of the world?
I never saw that movie.
Is that the guy in the painting? I can't remember it. It's too long ago.
In the painting, the funny little anal retentive museum curator that was Sigourney Weaver's boss. Like, he was kind of very creepy and kind of always asking her out on dates and shit. And then he ended up getting possessed by the painting, but he had this incredibly goofy voice, and it kind of sounded like a combination of like, I don't know, like a little bit of Elmo from Sesame Street, but then there's something else. Like, the character was trying to create this accent that you couldn't place anywhere, and it's just really funny. He just sounds like Janusz from Ghostbusters. And like, I just.
So you saying that Darth Dawkins, Gary, sounds like Janusz from Ghostbusters?
Angelo sounds like Janusz from Ghostbusters.
Oh, Artangelo sounds like Janusz from. Oh, Artangelo.
Yeah, and it's like he says he is beautiful.
You want to know something funny? Listen to this. I listen to a certain Twitter feed every single day, a live one, where they talk about the war in Ukraine, and one of the guys who comes on every now and again, a Ukrainian, but speaks English very, very well, and sounds exactly identical to Artangelo. The voice, the pitch, the everything about the voice is exactly like Artangelo, except that, where Artangelo speaks perfect English with a sort of a slight something kind of whatever European accent, Italian or whatever. This guy, other guy, he speaks exactly perfect English, but he's got a Ukrainian sort of underlying accent. So it's really funny to hear Artangelo speak English with a Ukrainian lilt, with a sort of Ukrainian accent. That was the fun fact of the day.
I think he's from South America originally.
Who is?
I think that accent. I think it's like Portuguese.
No, Artangelo was born. Let me see. He was born in Italy, and he grew up in Switzerland. I think something like that. And I might even be missing a country. I'm not sure.
I thought he was originally Swiss, but I could be wrong too. But he was definitely European.
Maybe originally Swiss and grew up in Italy. I don't know. I can't. He will have to come back and tell us himself.
Yeah, I was way off. I was placing him somewhere in South America. That it sounded like Portugal.
Well, that's where he is now. He lives in Brazil now.
Yes, he's in Brazil now. I don't think last time I spoke to him, he didn't like it there very much. He said if he had a choice, he wouldn't live there anymore.
Well, if God wills it.
I can't. You know what? I grew up in South Africa, and I did not ever for 1 second want to live there. So I totally understand I understand what he's going through and how he feels. But I was young enough, right? Because I was very young when I knew I hated the place. So I made plans to leave. Excuse me?
If you don't mind asking. What didn't you like about South Africa, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a police state, and the government were pretty much Nazis. They were the Dutch Reformed Church essentially ran the country, and the Dutch Reformed Church were very, like totally conservative Christians, in a sort of smoky saint kind of Christianity, where you're told what to do because of Christianity, and it's part of the law of the land and all this kind of shit. It's horrible, just horrible. So anyway, I knew I was going to get the fuck out of there. But now Artangelo's stuck in Brazil. He's not young, and he wants to get the fuck out of there. It can't feel good.
Maybe that's why he went to Israel. Maybe he's going to make a pilgrimage and move.
Well, he wouldn't be making a huge mistake by going to Israel if that's what if that's where he wants to go and live. I lived there for a few years, and not that I want to live there again, but it was, it's about as free as a country as you're gonna get, and if you've got some kind of a skill, you can make a living. So yeah, good luck to Artangelo. Having said that, I'm going to start running the Darth Dawkins Scholar Fiction debacle, where Darth Dawkins loses. He just loses he loses everything. He makes no rational sense. But he loves to hear his own voice. So let's do it.
Universal and invariant, meaning that the laws of logic are true at all times and all places. Is your argument and reasoning dependent upon that?
No, because they can just be relevant here and not be relevant in some other universe or parallel dimension. And if they're relevant here, it would make sense fine.
Did everybody hear what he just said?
Mm-hmm.
I heard it.
Okay, you heard what he just said. So basically, do you understand that the laws of logic within the realm of philosophy is considered universally necessary for rationality and intelligibility?
Sure. Yeah.
Now,
can you demonstrate they exist?
Do you reject the idea?
You've asked me a lot of questions. I'm asking you a question.
Can I demonstrate?
I just answer your question.
Yeah.
I just answer your question.
Yes, I can. Yeah,
Go ahead. Demonstrate that the laws of logic are universal.
Because the Christian God says they exist.
No, that's an assertion. That's not a demonstration.
No, he says they exist.
You're asserting that.
No, I'm repeating what he has said.
He talks to you?
In the Bible, God.
Oh, the book says that.
That's right.
That's not God. That's the book. The Bible.
Okay. Now here's the problem. I know you don't reject that. You reject the Christian God as the final authority to determine the way things actually are. But since you reject that, what is your final authority that you would use as a foundation to determine how things actually are, as opposed to merely believing?
What does that have to do with your assertion you just made?
What is your final authority? What is your final authority to determine what is actually the case in reality, as opposed to you merely having a strong belief that it is the case?
What does that have to do with the assertion you just made?
Okay. Well, listen. Here's another way of putting it. Like, maybe I may be wrong about this, but like,
okay, what we're getting here is complete dodge.
No, you're the one dodging. You're the one not answering questions. You didn't ask. You BS'd around objective morality. You BS'd around the idea
No,
that,
I
that,
answered.
that I'm still talking, sir. I'm still
I answered
talking.
your question.
Hey, no,
Why
no,
are
no.
you
I'm
lying?
responding. No, no, no. I'm still talking. I'm
You're lying.
responding.
I answered your question.
Hey, Darwin, I'm
You
responding.
guys
Please
both
don't
cut me off.
Yeah, no, no. But the thing is Darwin makes assertions. He doesn't back them up. He claims he doesn't say objective morality exists, which is very strange for a Christian. He doesn't agree that contradictions are invalid. Once again, strange. I don't understand.
I did not. I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, what he's saying is like with. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Spoken. I did cut you off, Spoken, earlier, so please go on. I apologize.
So like, I want to do like a thought experiment, like a hypothetical, right?
Please.
Let's say
please.
like I no longer dependent on God for like how I obtain what I call ultimate truth or what I believe to know is you know what I mean? What I know or what I say I know. I'm not going to no longer depend on God. If I'm going to remove him from the equation, what do I depend on? Do I depend on just my own human reasoning, or do I depend on something outside of myself that may be better? Or what?
Can I ask you this? When you say no, are you saying like absolute knowledge? Like in the sense that you can absolutely know certain with 100% certainty?
What I believe I know, I will say that.
Okay,
because
so...
is it possible to truly know anything if we can't verify it?
Well, there are things we can verify.
What?
Right?
I think
I'm talking with Spoken right now. Well, I mean, yeah, something we can verify. I can verify that I'm a male.
Can you really? I mean, can you verify that you're not a brain in a vat?
Where did that come from? What does that have to do with anything?
Okay.
Because like if we can't verify that we're not like in some kind of matrix situation, then how can we like if we can't verify that much, how do we know that what the reality that we're perceiving now is real?
Okay. Well, what I would say to that, Spoken, to respond, is that like if we're gonna go that far, right? If we're gonna use that kind of example where how do I know I'm not a brain in the vat? You'll be in the same boat, right? Because then I can say, how do you know you're not in the brain in the vat? And then it's not just the vat that's telling you that there's a God and all this kind of stuff like that, or God's lying.
All right,
so like those kind of arguments get kind of what it is, Spoken, is they just kind of get us nowhere, right? And that's what I find frustrating. It's not like I love the theological discussion where we actually discuss scripture and we get into those kind of topics where we can actually discuss these things. And that's why originally I asked Darwin to demonstrate objective morality, because that would be an interesting argument, right?
Well, the reason.
Go ahead.
It's my turn, Spoken.
Yeah. Just real quick, I'm gonna say one more last thing,
go ahead.
then I'm gonna be done with it. The reason why I say it because like with if I have God to depend on, I don't have to I don't have to believe that I'm a brain in a vat because God gives me the verification that I needed. If I was to remove that, then what could I use to then therefore say that I'm not a brain in a vat? I don't know other than my own human reasoning.
Yeah, but
that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, but the vat could be telling you that God is clarifying and telling you that you're not a brain in the vat, but you really are a brain in the vat. Right? There's no way to actually verify that without just kind of assuming it.
Okay, Spoken. The debate is actually over because Schuyler conceded that his reasoning and his argumentation does not depend upon the laws of logic at all. He made that entirely clear.
That's not true.
Therefore, okay, I'll ask you again in the room again, and then
asking me again isn't going to change my question.
You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to ask you a brief question, and then when you briefly answer it, I would like to continue with my rebuttal. Does your reasoning and argumentation depend on the laws of logic being absolute and universal?
No, what they depend on is us having agreements on logic, such as contradictions being invalid. That's what it depends on.
Okay, so what Schuyler has just meant, he said, when I asked him the question, does your reasoning and your argumentation depend upon the fundamental laws of logic, the law of identity, law of non-contradiction, and the law of excluded middle? His answer was no. Did anybody else hear him say that as well for confirmation?
Did anybody hear the second part?
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Please don't interrupt.
Well, you asked the question to everybody. I'm just answering the question.
Spoken. Did you hear him say his reasoning does not depend on the fundamental laws of logic? Spoken.
I did hear that, which is kind of why I want to say to Schuyler, you're kind of digging yourself.
Okay, well let me finish now. I just wanted confirmation that I heard it correctly. Yeah. So Spoken has confirmed this. Now, since he says that his reasoning does not depend on the law of identity and the law of non-contradiction, then he cannot employ referring to an identity's properties nor can he appeal to contradictions being invalid in his reasoning. Therefore, since all human communication in terms of speaking, reasoning, and arguing employs the laws of logic, then he can't actually argue and reason. Now, one other final thing. He said that his reasoning and argumentation depends upon agreement. So what Schuyler has conceded to is that reasoning and logic are always valid is if both parties agree upon it. So if both parties agree that contradictions are not invalid, then you can reason by virtue that contradictions. But if all contradictions are valid, what that means is it's called the principle of explosion, okay? Which means that all propositions hold. If all contradictions are not invalid, right? If all contradictions are valid, that means that all statements all hold. So basically, because Schuyler has not actually understood that the fundamental laws of logic, law of identity, non-contradiction, and excluded middle undergird all human reasoning, and because he has conceded before us here today, and I'm glad that this room is recorded that he's done so, he has conceded that they are conventional because they are merely agreed upon in the same manner that monopoly rules are, or driving on the right or the left-hand side, or calling a tree or a dog or a dog. So he has admitted that logic and reason is only valid if human beings agree on it. So therefore, he can't really reason about anything because he rejects the fundamental laws of logic. And you heard him here. You heard him say it here.
Well, that was the biggest straw man I've ever heard here on YouTube. So to respond to that, that's not what I meant. You just completely strawmanned me. I was saying in this specific argument, and I wasn't talking about all of logic with that. I was talking about a specific thing, us agreeing that contradictions are invalid, which you haven't even agreed to. You said you didn't agree that contradictions are invalid. You said you didn't share anything with my worldview, and in my worldview, I believe contradictions are invalid. So you don't believe that, I guess. That's your opinion. You have done nothing but make assertions to back up your argument. I asked you how you know, how you have this knowledge, and your answer was God said so, and then appealed to a 2,000-year-old book, which it's just laughable. And what's kind of hilarious is like this kind of rant you kind of went on, man, and to kind of like, oh, I got him this time, I got Schuyler fiction, when time after time you haven't made a coherent argument. You don't even argue your worldview, which is, I'm willing at least to argue my worldview. We haven't had one substantive debate because you refuse to actually make an argument for what you believe, right? And if you think that people who watch you think that you're a good debater when you actually don't make arguments, you are dead wrong and embarrassing yourself over and over again. I think MK wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like a chance to respond.
Yeah, okay, you know what? That's fine. Feel free to respond, but hold on, please. I would like to change topics, though. But yeah, go ahead and respond, please, if you would like.
Well, this is the level of cognitive dissonance. Schuyler does not even realize that he says that he can be rational and come to actually know that certain things are the case merely because two parties agree upon it.
It's not true.
If two
Straw
parties,
man.
okay.
You're straw manning. You're being dishonest. Again, that's not what I said. You're being dishonest.
Schuyler made it emphatically clear in here in the room and spoke and confirmed it that he said valid reasoning and argument. You keep on interrupting me.
Well, you're being dishonest, and it's not.
Stop interrupting me, please.
Okay.
I did interrupt you.
MK, he is being pretty dishonest.
Okay, how about this? How about this, Dawkins?
MK, every time.
Dawkins. Yeah, Dawkins. I was trying to speak up, and you and I have discussed this before. That when I'm trying to moderate, that you would concede the floor to me. So look, can you please keep what you're about to say to about 20 seconds, please?
Schuyler, you heard it here on the audio. You heard it here on the broadcast. Spoke and confirmed it. He said that his reasoning, his rational arguments, do not depend on the law of identity, non-contradiction, and excluded middle. You heard it here, folks.
I didn't say that, actually.
Okay, well then, how about this? Let's just, I know that Gigi's in here and spoken, of course, in Arcane. Would you guys like to say anything about anything?
Yeah.
I have a comment.
Spoken, I know, wanted to ask something earlier, I thought. And Spoken, if you want anything you want to ask me, man, I thought you were really interesting to talk to. Like, I don't feel like you have different motives in having the conversation. Like, I feel like you're pretty honest with how you talk. So.
I think Dawkins is a much better debater than you, Skylar. So I don't know why you're talking about his debate skills.
Well, you're a nihilist, dude. I don't really have much respect.
Oh, how is that relevant? Answer that. How is that relevant?
Because you don't pretty much believe in anything.
How is that?
It's relevant because why would I respect somebody that has no beliefs?
Nihilists don't believe in anything?
You don't believe anybody can know it.
And even if that was true, so how is that relevant to you being a court
why would I respect somebody who that claims they can't know anything at all?
Whether you respect
because how would you even know that I'm a good debater or a bad debater if you can't?
Whether you should respect me or not, how is that relevant to you fucking Dawkins kicking your ass?
Yeah, so how it's relevant is you're telling me your opinion on how I did in this debate with Dawkins, right? And what I'm doing is responding to your opinion by saying your opinion is irrelevant to me because you can't know anything. And if you can't know anything, how would you know that I didn't do well in this debate? So that's why it's irrelevant to the conversation. And I've just heard you various times before. You're not someone to really be taken seriously. That's it.
Okay, so you denied saying something. So I'll ask you the question.
No, hold up. I don't want to get back into that.
I think we're changing topics. Yeah.
I don't want to get back into that, please.
Well, he denied saying something. Can I just confirm?
No, that's fine.
Whether he said it or not?
No. I mean,
how about this, Dawkins? Can you please, like, make a video about it or something? I don't want to.
Well, I would just like one last question because he denied saying it and it was recorded.
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's fine because we have the timestamp of where he said it.
Hey, I'll probably put it up on my channel, so I'll put the whole video up. It's no big deal.
Yeah, we can put the timestamp where he said no, he does not depend on the laws of love.
Okay, I already told you we're switching topics.
Thank you. I tried to argue morality with him, but he didn't want to talk about morality. He didn't want to talk about it. I tried.
And by the way, Gigi, I wrote you a message in the side here that, well, whatever, you can read it.
Oh, okay, I see.
And the only reason I said that is because I came back and I didn't hear the whole thing between you and Skylar, but I just walked back in and something just struck my ears as though maybe something was going in a way that I'm not really.
Well, I didn't call them any names or anything. I wasn't saying it to be disrespectful. I'm just saying I think he was getting his ass kicked.
Well, at the same time, I don't even know what you said, so I'm not even accusing you of anything.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Okay, hold on. I'm in the middle of a sentence, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want you to feel like I accused you per se. Which I'm not. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just saying that upon me coming back into the room and sitting down, I felt like something may have been happening, which is why I just, wanted to shoot you that info.
And I don't know what kind of nihilist Skylar thinks I am.
Well, I just heard you make claims about knowledge before you didn't know anything. But anyway, so if someone
wants, that I'm an epistemological nihilist?
Okay,
I'm really just not that interested in you, Godless, to be honest with you.
Godless, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think if somebody in this hangout maintains that they can be rational?
All right, we're not going there. I am not entertaining anything that has to do with you and Skylar debating. I'm just not doing that.
Okay, no, go away.
Hey, yo, Mike, we can kind of hear your background if you don't mind muting when you're not talking. Just no offense.
Skylar, are you a solipsist?
I got 4 dogs here. I don't know why they're playing this. I don't know. They're playing now. Chasing each other around and stuff. So sorry about that.
Skylar, are you a solipsist?
No.
But you don't know that you're not a brain in a vat?
There's no evidence for me to believe that I was a brain in a vat. It's a silly concept.
That's not what solipsism is.
Well, you asked me a question about being a brain in a vat.
Do you think you can know anything?
I'm just responding to what you saying. How do you
Can you know that you're not a brain in a vat?
In what way? How do you define know?
Justified knowledge is justified true belief.
A justified true belief. What would make me justified in knowing? How could I be justified in knowing that I was not a brain in the vat?
If there was an omniscient,
well, you would have to know
I was
that
actually
it's
talking
impossible.
to God. I was talking to God.
That's how you could know.
Dawkins. Thanks, Godless. Go ahead, Godless.
Yeah, you would have to know that it's impossible that you are a brain in a vat, right?
So, in order for me to know that I'm not a brain in the vat, I would have to know that I'm not a brain in the vat.
Right. I'm asking you, can
No,
you know
you
that?
have to be able to justify that you're not a brain in a vat.
Why would I have to be able to justify that I'm not a brain in the vat?
In order to
under what standard?
In order to know it, because in order to know something, you have to know that the contrary is impossible.
Well, yeah. I mean, the question seems nonsensical because you're saying in order to know that you're not a brain in the vat, you would have to know that you're not a brain in the vat. Because I would have to have the ability to know that. That's such a nonsensical question. What's the point of it?
I'm asking you, do you know it?
Can you be absolutely certain that you are not a brain in a vat?
Can I be
not
absolutely certain? It's an interesting question. Can I be absolutely certain that I'm not a brain in the vat? I think it's, well, I guess let me answer it this way. In the same way that I can't be absolutely certain that I'm not a flying hippopotamus god who shits ice cream on other planets. That would be in the same way. I couldn't know.
So what? You can't know that, right?
What's your point? That's what I'm trying to ask you. What's the point of this thought game?
Well, I wanted you to answer, and then I was going to proceed.
Well, I just did.
So is the answer yes or no?
Are you guys?
I believe the answer is that he doesn't know. He has no way of.
I said the same
no way anyone can know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's. I'm trying to point out the absurdity of the question.
Well, because you're not a solipsist, right?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what your point is. So if you get to your point and just
my point is you're contradicting yourself.
And how am I doing that?
If you're not a solipsist, then what's your answer to hard solipsism? Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Is that what we're doing? We're just telling people to shut the fuck up? Is that what we're doing?
No, yeah, she got ejected for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's this fucking brain in the vat thing? Anybody have an idea? What's the point? Yeah, help me out there. Thank you.
Well, the first time I encountered it was Psi 10 Brukenkate. You remember that Joker?
Absolutely, yeah.
Big, tall, bald-headed, very imposing, cut a very imposing figure. Yeah, he would whenever anybody wouldn't sort of follow his little, pre-designed, pre-sup shit. He would always degrade the entire debate into, well, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?
Yeah, but you could make up a million different things. Like, how do you know you're not a rock on a hill? How do you know you're not a rock of the brain? I mean, how do you know you're? I mean, you can make up a zillion things. How can you know you're not a wineskin?
What I watched him and Matt Dillahunty go at it, and what I just desperately wished would have happened is that the moment that Psi 10 Brukenkate went into that, well, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat? How do you know? How do you know? If Matt Dillahunty had simply stood up, walked over to Psi 10, got within 2 feet of him, looked him dead in the eye, and kicked him squarely in the balls, and I mean as hard as he could, and watched Psi 10 fold, turn completely white, and fall over, and then say, can a brain in a vat do that?
Will Smith would have fucking loved that.
Can a brain in the vat cross a room? And I don't know.
Exactly. And I think Skylar's right. It's a nonsensical question.
Hang on a second. I would have walked in the room. I would have got one of my attack dogs.
Oh, you're not finished?
And
Okay.
are commanding the dog to go into aggression and focus on my opponent.
Yes.
And the brain in it influence the mind of another living creature. This dog is about to attack you until I say otherwise.
I see.
Otherwise, can a brain in a vat do this? And if so, if you're confident that I am a brain in a vat, then just say the word and I will tell the dog to attack you. Because a brain in a vat couldn't
do that.
What you're proposing.
Well, how would a brain in vat know even what a dog is?
Unless my opponent is also a brain in a vat, and we're all in the matrix.
Yeah, but the matrix has to be programmed. So I mean, it's again, there's this regression, this infinite regression. It's
or you accept that the matrix is the reality. In which case, it's like, well, what does it matter if we're in the matrix? You're in the matrix. I'm in the matrix. We have to accept the parameter of the matrix as reality. So it just
that's kind of what's so stupid about it. Because if I'm a brain in the vat, it doesn't matter because that's my reality. And if reality is reality, reality is reality. It's just a way of trying to kill the conversation.
Well, and it starts to get really fucking weird if you say, well, if I'm a brain in the vat, then what the fuck are you? Or if you're a brain in the vat, then what the fuck am I? If you're a brain in the vat, how are we having this conversation? If one of us is real and one of us isn't.
Well, let me
That's
ask you.
The programming, right? Yeah.
Well, what the fuck am I then? I'm confused. Hell, am I confused? Brain in a vat. I mean, the whole concept of the question is just stupid. I don't get it.
Well, this is why
it just
stupid, because to basically believe that you can't know anything, can't prove anything, it's a road to nowhere. And the people that I know that practice that sort of life truly live a life of just no accountability whatsoever, from what I've seen. It's just a really weird philosophical
No personal ethics, nothing like that.
What's the point if you can't know anything, and you can't prove anything, and you can't even prove your own existence? What's the point? Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, but exactly, what's the point? How can you? Can you prove your own? The fact that I can understand and process a question from somebody like that. How do you know you exist? That person requires an answer from me. In order for me to give an answer to the question of how do I know I exist, he has to be able to hear my answer. If he hears my answer, I exist. So it's really not that difficult to prove that I exist.
But
you don't need to prove that you exist. You just exist, right? I think, therefore I am. That's the one thing we can all say for sure.
No, I know that, but when the stupid dumb question comes at me, how do you know you exist? Then there's my answer. I know I exist because when I answer your question, you hear my answer, or you see my answer, or whatever the case may be. What do you think?
From someone like Darth, it's just a tactic to stall the conversation and make the other person put on the defensive. The whole "how do you know anything" thing. It's just stupid. I mean, Scarter's right. It's just a completely unproductive line of questioning.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Godless is I don't know, a step above or below Darth, really, in terms of conversations. So.
Yeah, she's pretty aggressive.
Nihilism is stupid, and that.
Tell me what nihilism is. I don't even understand that.
Godless Girl's a really good example of what a nihilist is. She embodies every nihilist I know is very, very similar and like her. Temperament, habits. It's just, nobody can know anything, so fuck everything.
Well, to me, Godless Girl is just another person from Florida because they're all kind of weird.
Is that where Godless hails from originally?
Originally, I don't know, but when this was broadcast, or when she was in 2016 anyway, she was Florida, and I still believe she is in Florida, so she's probably been in Florida a while.
Mm.
She's just like unhinged at times, so like I don't think philosophy has anything to do with it. I think she's just a bit out there
I think
and
she's
angry
actually a
and
very, very
yelly.
intelligent person. However, when she defends Darth Dawkins, it's probably just performance art.
Yeah, she may be very intelligent, but she certainly has self-control issues and just yells and screams and insults and stuff. So I don't think that's philosophy. I think that's just
Oh well, I mean that's
that's just who she is, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just because okay, but that is who she is, and she shows it on in the public instead of having a sort of a committed, if you're an activist, then you should be a committed activist, and I mean I'm guilty of this myself, but you shouldn't allow yourself to get sidetracked and angry.
Mm.
I'm guilty myself, so.
Some people are born nihilists. Other people are just typecast as nihilist. I don't know.
I still don't know what it is, because all you said was it's godless.
No. I don't know if you heard me, but what I said was the basic. My understanding of the basic principles is that there's no way any of us can know anything for certain. So
here's
try tell that to an astrophysicist or a cosmologist. I mean,
I said
here's a quick one for you, Sidney.
Yeah.
Nihilism is the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. It is often associated with extreme pessimism and a radical skepticism that condemns existence. A true nihilist would believe in nothing, have no loyalties, and no purpose other than perhaps an impulse to destroy.
In that case, all Christians are nihilists. All Christians are nihilists, except for the fact that they have Jesus there to stop them being nihilists.
I have heard
without
arguments
Jesus,
that Christianity is nihilistic.
Yes, it seems. I think you for the first time have brought to my attention that Christianity is nihilistic, because I really didn't get the concept until now. Now that you sort of showed me told me what it is, and the antidote to nihilism is Jesus. And
I have heard other people argue that Christianity is a form of nihilism, so that's not unique. And yeah, if you look into it, there is pretty sound reasoning.
I've just discovered it tonight in my clinical research with my team that includes algorithm and alpha K91. Alpha is a dog person, dog expert. And what's your expertise, Al Gore?
I sort of in ecology is my background, and sort of like resource management and ecology. So I'm a biologist, basically.
Biologist?
Yeah, call it that, simpler.
Well, your job is a lot.
That's why people like Artangelo just drive me crazy when he starts talking and trying to disprove things like evolution. He doesn't know the first fucking thing of what he's talking about.
Well, you should come back in here the thing about Artangelo, he's, forget about evolution. He's still at the stage where the Shroud of Turin proves Jesus Christ.
Oh,
yeah, his credulity is just off the charts for him. So it's hard. I would never bother having a evolution debate or whatever with him, because it's just fruitless. He's heard it all before. He's just got a huge wall that,
evolution
God done it.
Evolution is just non-debatable. I would never debate anybody about evolution, because that's the dumbest conversation or debate topic I can think of.
Yeah, he pulls up all his like, it's 1 in 1,400 million to 1 that this would happen and this would happen. It's just like, this is just nonsense stuff. It's just,
he's the copy pasta king.
We have video of bacteria evolving. Like, it's not like it's not even controversial in any way, shape, or form. And for a couple guys on the internet like him and Standing for Truth and LPP and those guys to somehow overturn the one of the most fundamental pieces of scientific knowledge in our history is it's just laughable, and like it's why even bother engaging with it? It's basically flat Earth stuff.
I agree with you.
It really is.
Exactly. Why waste time? And
you're not going to win, no matter what you bring up. He's kind of like Kent Hovind or.
That's why I say it's
no matter what you bring up, he's not going to accept it. He's not going to take anything on board.
Don't bother with
It's
him.
just nonsense.
Don't bother.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's really a shame.
Having said that, I enjoy talking to Tangelo about other stuff, like nothing to do with these topics. He seems like a really nice guy, don't get me wrong. But as soon as he gets into his apologetics, it's just like, oh, I'm done. I just can't listen.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame too, because we have so many cool sort of recent examples of our evolutionary timeline being filled in, with different archaeological discoveries, like the Risen Star Cave and stuff. I don't know, Al, if you have any knowledge of that.
Refresh my memory. That it sounds familiar, but I don't do a lot of human evolution stuff. But I usually hear about stuff. So what was that one about? I can't remember.
It's extremely complicated cave system in which it shows pretty reasonable proof that Australopithecines were actually burying their dead, and doing so by crawling through this cave system while taking bodies and then dropping them down this hole, because it's just, when these cave explorers actually went down into this system, they just found this entire area littered with a novel species of Australopithecine. I guess that was, I don't know, 2010 or 11. It's fairly recent, but just freaking amazing,
Yeah, so Homo naledi or naledi, some of those early hominids definitely did apparently purposely have, whether it's religious or not, I think is very, very debated, but they definitely did have rituals. What those rituals meant to them is a completely different topic, and I don't know if we'll ever know. But yeah, Neanderthals and early hominids definitely did have burial rituals. It's hard to interpret what that means, because like I said, were they doing it for religious reasons or just other reasons? Who knows? It's hard to know. But yeah, I mean, we're not that different than than apes. I don't care what anyone says.
I would venture that they were not doing that for religious reasons. I think they'd figured out that decomposing corpses need to be buried. That's the best solution. So I mean, we're smart that way. That's what I think. They must have done it.
I think that it actually disposal of one's dead, and especially doing it in a very unique way. The cave system and the amount of difficulty to move a body here suggested that it was very, very significant to these particular
Absolutely,
people.
but it doesn't have to be religiously significant. It'd be culturally significant, or
never said anything about religion, but that this would be a distinguishing feature from other apes, modern or otherwise, where
specifically look, what is it?
Australopithecus.
Australopithecus, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing, in the end, though, I mean, like I said,
Australopithecus. Jesus.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Way outside of anything I know, but and who knows why they were doing it? I mean, it might have just simply been confused by what death is, right? So, not knowing what it is, they treat them like they're sleeping or bury them because they don't know what's going on. And that really, I mean, could tie to religion, because religion is actually a pretty early, I think, an early mythology about what that whole death thing means, right? Because when you've got your family members just stopping working and just dying, you need an explanation.
But
and,
you got to figure that the decomposing body has to come into it, has to play into it, because it doesn't take very long for a decomposing body to make itself known, even to be evidence of things unseen.
Well, especially in Africa, right? Like, I mean, it's not exactly a meat locker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 40 degrees out, and your cousin is stinking to heaven.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Think about it this way. It could be that you don't want you've acknowledged that your ancestor has died, or that at least they're no longer functioning on the same plane as we are. Okay. Maybe you don't want to see your ancestor being torn apart by hyenas, but maybe, just maybe, the fact that you carry them through this incredibly complex cave system where you have to squeeze and crawl through your belly and possibly use some form of maybe a simple rope and tackle to move a body through the system, to me, I think that it means that these people were sending their dead on some sort of a journey. I think, to me, it's the first hint of the belief in an afterlife. That's just my opinion. But
what makes sense, because if it's just simple burial to avoid the hyenas,
You're
you don't
talking
have to
about
go
mass
to those
grave
lengths.
burial, Alpha?
So they were doing it for a reason. Like, you don't go through that much effort without a reason. So what you're saying, I mean, that's reasonable to assume that they had some significance to it beyond just removing this rotting corpse from your camp, or not attracting predators. Like, you can do that far simpler than this kind of ritual. So yeah, there's probably something else going on for sure.
That's what it meant to me anyway. When I was watching this documentary and watching these, it's funny that they hired a lot of very, very small women, very slight of build, but strong, to be the ones to explore the cave, because there was a size issue where there was a section of the cage called the dragon's back, and it was literally crawling on your belly through something that was probably the size of smaller than an air ventilation shaft. But of course, the people that were making this journey with their dead were much smaller than us physically, and modern humans just couldn't even fit through some of these crevices. But it was an intense thing to watch these women with these head cameras crawling through, and just how claustrophobic, and it was just no easy task to put bodies down there, and there were hundreds.
The other interesting thing about that to me is that it also suggests that our culture is inherited from ancestor species as much as our ancestors, and I think that's something that would just blow young Earth creationists and Christians' minds that don't want evolution. But it also means we probably inherited some pretty core things about our culture, like the stuff you were talking about, the afterlife and belief in the dead. That actually came before our species even existed, which is really interesting if you think about it.
Yes, this is exactly why I brought this up. Because when I considered this, my mind just went. It's like, there's evidence here that says that belief in an invisible man in the sky isn't even uniquely human. It may have existed in this period in between being a very, very small-brained ape to what we are now.
Yeah, I always have two categories in my head for that stuff. There's the afterlife aspect, like understanding what is the nature of life, which I think this would be around. And then there's just gods themselves. It's just like Thor bang to rock, get little spark, huge rock in sky must be giant Thor in sky. Like sort of like the explanation of natural phenomenon is sort of like a god, a birth of a god concept. But then also the whole mysticism around afterlife. So I sort of see two, in my head anyway, I see two pathways of humans, or even pre-humans, as we talk about, trying to figure out the natural world that leads to these deities or unexplained phenomenon bigger than us. And that's just, I just think when you start there and you start adding in all the theology and stuff, and bingo, bango, bongo, you've got religion, right? And I just don't think it's any great mystery how it all started. But it is interesting, like what were those early humans thinking when they looked up and saw lightning in the sky, right? Like they tried to figure it out and came up with something that kind of made sense. Like I said, when Thor banged two small rocks, get small spark. Big spark must be big Thor in the sky, right? It seems really simple to me when I reduce it down, but I could be talking out of my ass.
Well, it just seems to me a little bit weird that they never thought about the infinite regression thing back then. You know, when Thor and Zeus and etc. You know, they were the gods, but didn't they think, hey, hold on a second, where'd they come from?
They probably did. Like by the time that those like Roman and Greek philosophy and religion came around, they probably did think about it.
Okay,
I don't know enough about
it. They must
have.
It'd
be interesting to find out. Somebody must have thought of it.
I do understand. Maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I am aware, that a lot of these gods had parents. Like, you know, like for example, Zeus was the son of someone and someone else. And
they were extremely anthropomorphic. Yes.
Yeah,
like
but the question is,
they were like men and women walking around doing stuff.
Right. The question is, okay, fine, but then the parents of the god, where they come from, and then you get your infinite regression that way. You know, a million times, or as many times as there's a god, there's an infinite regression. Now we're down to one. With the Christians, and we're working on them on getting them sorted.
I think this
so
is
are
why
you proposing a single ultimate that's the source of all truth and untruth and possibility and impossibility?
And I'm proposing I'm proposing that Darth Dawkins be that definition. And when he dies,
he probably is.
When Darth Dawkins dies, then that'll be the end of logic and reason.
Everything will descend into unintelligibility.
Exactly, and chaos.
And then midway through one of these Discord streams, everybody's just going to be starting.
Well,
can you imagine everyone just starts talking in tongues all of a sudden? That'd be wonderful.
Hey,
tell me something. How would we entertain ourselves if Christians didn't exist?
How would I entertain myself if there were no snake handlers?
Oh, the Pentecostals?
Yeah, man, that's some exciting shit.
Did you ever watch the Creaky Blinder? He's got a couple videos on the snake handlers. It's pretty hilarious. The one guy that gets bit goes to the hospital after saying, if I'm get bit, it's in God's hands. But then when he gets bit, he goes to the hospital. It's pretty funny.
Gets about 25 vials of anti-venom. Praise Jesus.
God certainly acts very, very suspiciously like he doesn't exist.
In that moment.
Well, in every moment that I've ever encountered throughout my life.
A universe without God and a universe with God seem completely the same.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So they're indistinguishable. So
you've actually by saying that you've actually defined God into existence.
You know, God is such a slippery term. It could mean anything you want it to.
There isn't a God. God does not exist. God cannot exist. God is imaginary. God, if you start there, you're done with God. You move on to something, a little bit more intelligent.
What about God is
Well, if you
point?
start, God is what? Pointless? Yeah.
I agree, because God is not something that ever comes to anybody's physical help in anything ever. People have accidents, people get murdered and robbed and raped and maimed and do the same to others. There's
Well, that,
a real God would actually protect the children of the God, and no matter what any Christian would say, they cannot deny that a real father would protect his children at all times.
well, the whole Christian story doesn't make any sense at all once you start actually asking questions. But I think I mean, for me, that hits the nail on the head. To me, the question isn't really do gods exist or not. It's more what led us to create this thing in our mythology. Like why did we create these imaginary creatures and characters in these myths? That to me is the more interesting question. Like to me, the idea of a god existing is just so ridiculously
dumb,
hard to justify or impossible to justify, and that's why to me the question is just like how did these different cultures imagine a god to exist in the first place? I find that fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not ever to the point that these things actually exist. I mean, that's just like why it doesn't even make sense.
Al, have you ever read a book by Neil Gaiman called American Gods? Because although it's not a book, I think it does a really good job of illustrating in a fictional narrative how people came to believe. Because there was the he was an old Egyptian god. I can't remember his name, but he was basically writing a history of religion, a history of the world, and his little stories were interspersed throughout the novel. And it starts off with these, very, very primitive people worshiping, like, I think it's a bison skull, or or something along those lines. It's pure animism, you know, and each story sort of goes, you know what I mean, throughout time, and illustrates a piece of religion, and the way it affected and sort of motivated the people. I don't know. I loved that book. I thought it was really good for that reason.
Yeah, I like him as an author generally. It is a good book. And it's interesting too, like when you talked about bison skulls and stuff like that. Like that's actually one of the things that I find with a lot of these Christian apologists too. Like, and I actually find it with some of the atheist community when they're doing their debunks and stuff like that. When they talk about religions, it's always like, well, it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and some Greek and Roman. Like they leave out the whole rest of the world. Like when you look at the North American, Mesoamerican, and South American or Aboriginal myths and legends, like they're way, way more interesting than the desert dweller
I was
theology
thinking
out of
about
the
that
Middle
today,
East,
in
right?
fact.
Like it's
Yeah.
actually really some really, really cool stories. Way better than God ripped a rib out of somebody and built a woman because he didn't want to fuck any of the animals, right? Like it's just so much better stories.
Christianity is so embedded in the Roman Empire, or has emerged so sort of focused from the Roman Empire, that they still refer to the Roman Empire in their holy scriptures that are inherently written by God about the Roman Empire and the emperors that they hate and the ones that they love. I mean, how myopic, how short-sighted do you actually have to be not to get it?
And isn't it interesting that God created the heavens and the earth and the universe and everything and all people, wrote this inerrant Word of God book, and yet everything that happens in the Bible takes place, the size of New Jersey or New England?
Right, and
like,
the Roman Empire is heavily involved.
I mean, the biblical stories all took place within like tens of kilometers of each other. Like it's
That's
not
right. Yeah.
It's like if the Bible had something about something that happened on Vancouver Island or Greenland or Antarctica or something, then I might be impressed. But the fact that you could probably stand in
the thing
places in Israel and throw rocks and hit 90% of what happened in the Bible with it, it just says.
The thing that
again,
amazes me. The thing that amazes me is that the Jewish Bible, they talk about calamities and big episodes of horror, like when they get invaded by Babylon and Assyria, whoever the fuck invaded them, and had war with them, right? And then Cyrus came and sort of saved them, and so the whole of the Jewish Bible is kind of about that. Then you get to the Christian Bible, and it's all about, the Romans, we were Jews, and then the Romans came and fucked us over with trying to put a statue and trying to humiliate us and trying to make us sacrifice to their pagan gods, and we fought, we fought back and blah 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 blah. So it's all about the Romans in the Christian religion. So it's not really a religion.
The New Testament is. Yeah, the New Testament is mostly about the geopolitics, if you ask me.
So it's not really, it's not a religion. The Christianity is not really a religion. It's more of a mental illness.
Well,
it's certainly a. Yeah.
I was going to say.
I mean, it's
persecution narrative.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat, Alpha?
I said it can't exist without a persecution narrative.
Yeah. That's what makes it so dodgy and fishy, and doesn't
harmful.
Pass. And doesn't pass the smell test. And harmful for sure.
Well, that's
any religion that teaches you that you're a broken, horrible person, I think just should be thrown out with the dishwater. Like it just, like what a horrible message, Jesus loves you, but by the way, he also made you a broken, horrible person that needs to be fixed.
So
it's like this is why those
Christianity.
stories are just so stupid. Yeah.
Well, it goes even further, right? You're a broken, horrible person that needs to be fixed, but then everybody around you that doesn't subscribe to the same shit that you do is even more broken and horrible and needs to be killed. That's what I get out of the Bible.
Spot
on.
Yeah,
it's very tribal, right? It's very tribal, right? Like, and even those other groups that they fought, like the Canaanites and stuff like that. I mean, they're just like subsets of, like, they're all just tribes in the same region. There's nothing different about them fundamentally, really. Like, they're all just the same people, just fighting for bits and pieces of the desert.
Well, and according to the scriptures, they're also supposed to be God's people, right? Adam and Eve, and
why doesn't all loving God that created all of humanity for everybody have a chosen people?
Makes sense.
Because they're the ones who wrote the Bible.
Right, but doesn't Jesus love everybody? But if Jesus doesn't love everybody because it's his chosen people, so the whole thing just goes out the window. The whole thing goes out the window on its surface.
Right? Yeah, that's what makes Jesus so much mythology, and nothing more.
Yeah, he was just a sequel to the Old Testament, and
theology and mythology are both fiction.
Or at least, morality stories, right? Some of them, although some of them are really dodgy.
Doesn't matter. They're still made up by men. I mean, or women.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just, like, a lot of the Gospels, I mean, I just see them as sermons that basically got so popular that they got written down. And sermons are just stories, right? They're just stories to teach people stuff. Doesn't mean that the shit in the stories actually happened.
Well, you've got to figure that after Nicaea, after they figured out which books were going to be in part of the canon, those are the ones that got copied the most, as opposed to those that were left out and weren't copied as much, if at all. So they dwindled and faded away, and we don't know about them, or we know about some of them, but not, I'm sure, all of them. So Christianity seems to be just, who won the rigged election in Nicaea. That's what it's all about. Because it could have been.
Here's the 3 books that you need to teach about, and if you don't, you're not a true Christian, and we will kill you.
And everything else was just thrown away.
And look, these 3 books, look how important they are. Well, it's kind of self-fulfilling, right? If you condemn and kill people that don't follow what you follow, then what you follow tends to be what's left over. Like,
What
this
you
doesn't
follow
seem complicated to me.
What you follow is dystopian. So Christianity is dystopian.
Well, what do you mean? Like this, people make all these statements in there, but as long as you have some kind of good, like, somewhat of a moral foundation, you should be fine. But it's like you can't say that people on, like, I've met some okay Christians on Discord. It's rare, but like atheists are just as weird and creepy.
In what way? How do you mean?
What do you mean? Like, people are just full of shit. Like everyone I talk to, they're non-denominational Christians, or they're agnostic, or they're just memeing. Like, it's just the atheists that I talk to. It's like, oh, I'm not even Christian today.
Are you a Christian?
No, I'm an atheist.
So, what is your complaint about atheists?
I don't know. I don't really have anything against atheists or Christians, but it's just people on Discord. They just remind me of IRC when I was a kid.
You're roboting a little bit or something.
Roboting a lot, giving a headache.
Oh, 1 second.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm only getting about like 1 word in 3. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, does this work now?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is heavenly.
Oh, okay, perfect. But yeah, usually like most people that are IRC, IQC, and like AOL chats, like it wasn't really as bad as it was now, but Discord is really Discordian. So you have a lot of people that'll pretend to believe in things they could give fuck all about or they have no knowledge about. That's my only complaint.
That's what we're here to challenge and to educate.
You are not doing that.
I think you're right, and that's like you said, it's quote unquote both sides, whatever the sides are. But I think that's just the nature of these formats. Like, the only people that want to come on and fight are the people that want to come on and fight. It's like Twitter. It's such a subset of the actual real population. You can't generalize too much from it.
No, I can't lie to you. Like, I've actually met like a few. Like, if I could talk to someone about like a Eucharist or the Council of Nicaea, or they want to talk about the zealotry or the zealots or whatever, they know what they're talking about, and I appreciate that. But most people, they just pretend to be Christian and it's like, oh yeah, they make themselves into some kind of idol figure, and then they want to bitch about Kim Kardashian.
If it's one Jesus Christ, how come there's so many Christian denominations?
There was this thing called a schism, and then there were some like acts that were utilized for propaganda. If you think about Jesus was used as propaganda. We had like a bunch of Jews, Muslims, people in the Abrahamic faith. They were utilized as propaganda by like a state.
Muslims weren't around before Jesus.
You had Zoroastrianism, and then you had people that made up their other new religions or whatever. Yes, they were.
Muslims didn't come around until about 630 something, some low 600s common era. So 1400 years.
You're forgetting about 5 BCE, dude.
Who? What?
5 BCE. Like, I mean, I don't know, dude. They've been around like for a minute, but it was mostly utilized for like state propaganda and stuff like that. I mean, dude, you forget about like the Saracens and shit like that?
I don't know if you are talking about the same thing that we are talking about, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I think you understand my language, right? Like, are you a religious person?
Define religious.
But Muhammad didn't even live until like 610
Exactly.
CE.
Exactly. He wasn't born.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
like,
okay, okay. Now, all right, now I'm picking up.
yeah.
I'm tracking what you guys are saying. My bad.
Yeah.
But it's
So
like this is the issue though. It's like this is the issue. It's approximately though. Like so, it gets difficult when you talk about shit like this.
know your history is what I say to everybody.
No, what does approximately mean to you?
I don't know, within 500, no, within 100 to 200 years, maybe 300 years.
I'm not
Depends
gonna
on the
lie to you and
context.
pretend like I'm a fucking anthropologist or something like that. But dude, I grew up in the fucking church. Most of the people I knew, they knew a lot like fucking the history associated with these things, anthropology, all this boring shit. I don't care about. But yeah.
So which kind of church
I
did you
mean,
grow up in?
Oh, fucking hell. So you had I had to do my Eucharist with like I don't know, fuck, like my dad's side of the family, they were Christian or they were Catholics, right? And then I had to grow up. I mostly grew up in the Southern Baptist Church, you know.
What is a Baptist
In
church?
your in
Why are there so many?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, this shit gets really hard too, because it's like, dude, you're talking about my family, dude. You know the concept, like, remember like Santeria thing or whatever, like Arada, because like my family were from the Caribbean, so it's like, yeah, I just grew up with a bunch of weird shit. So even like when I talk to someone from like Serbia or like no, like the Balkans, Eastern Europe, like they could be Orthodox, Catholic, or whatever. Like everyone like brings up like a patron saint or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, well this is this month, and it's like this makes sense to me, you know. But yeah, it's just yeah, I don't know.
But realistically, like how many people in those churches that you went to understood that much about religion past Jesus loves us, we need to be good, let's sing some songs, feel good
Jesus
on
loves
Sunday.
me, this I know, for the Bible
Yeah, but
told me so. Yeah,
but
dude.
what
Like
percentage of
most of them
Christians
didn't
know
know.
much
Fuck, they
actually
did
about?
not care.
Yeah,
What you said,
yeah, it doesn't
algorithm, they
matter.
don't fucking care. Like only reason I
Yeah,
lucked out was because like, dude, like I talked to someone about like certain parts of history. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like, dude, most of these people they just pretend it and they got like fucking freebies or they got to like gossip.
but I would bet how many Christians in the U.S., for example, would know about the Council of Nicaea or understand that the flood narrative came from previous
Barely
stories. Like
any of them.
they don't. Yeah, they don't give a shit. They just
You got to
Jesus
know
loves
the
me and my
history of your culture, your heritage, your
why?
religion. Surely,
Well,
My
surely it's
parents,
apparently you
part
my
of
don't.
your
parents took me to
education.
church, and I go to church. Why? Your parents took you to church, so
I
you stay
know,
in
but
church,
the
and
history,
all your friends go to church, and
the rich
I don't think
history
they
of your
care.
particular denomination, you don't care?
I don't think
No,
people
you
really
don't know.
care
You don't
as much as
understand what
we
like Al
think.
Gore is not
Yeah.
wrong. Most people don't fucking care. They could give a fucking shit less about it, right? And it's just like, because like my like I have bishops and like pastors and reverends in my family, you know.
But that's why I find like a lot of the internet apologists, like the Darth Dawkins and stuff, into this deep Christian philosophy and stuff like that. It's just like 90% of the people don't give a shit. They just like, I go to church on Sunday. That's all I need to know, right? Like it's all just
They don't even
ridiculous.
do that, bro. I'm not trying to lie to you. They don't even do that.
I am sure that 66.6% of this planet, of the population of this planet, are actual atheists.
No.
They're cultural Christians and cultural Muslims and cultural whatever, but
What
I don't know how
what
deep
you're
they actually think
explaining
about their
to
beliefs.
me, how I'm taking it is, those that don't give a fuck are atheists, but
They're not
pretending to be.
atheists.
They're pretending not to be.
They're not
Because
on Discord,
if
sure. But wait, you understand? Wait, you understand? You're on Discord 24/7. This is different from like actually going to a synagogue, a church, or a mosque. Like people, or even like you go to like a Buddhist place, like like the Soka. Like people do believe in what they're saying, like But
do they
Discord's
believe?
different.
Do they
Good luck.
believe in a God? Do they believe that the God actually exists? Though,
If you're talking about the Abrahamic-based kind of people, yeah, they totally like to anthropomorphize God or whatever. Yeah, they believe in it.
I just Googled it out of curiosity. It says 27% of Americans attend church weekly.
I know, but I said 6.6% of the planet.
No, but if you figure that, 75, 80% of America are religious, if not higher,
yeah,
most of them aren't going to church.
True, but America doesn't reflect the world. The world is way more, at least the Western world is way more secular than America.
How six have you talked to on Discord or people national that pretend they give a fuck about the shit, but they just hate confused about their own sexuality, or like I don't know, they don't like whatever the fuck they don't like, but they just use this like a handbag.
Wow. All I know is if Christianity were all that true, Pornhub wouldn't exist. But
right.
Yeah. That's right, because John or somebody said, "Don't get married, don't have sex, don't." Jesus is coming soon, so sell your shit.
Yeah, but they're like, I don't know. It's like some people like, oh god. I think the first pregnancy scare I ever had was with some Catholic girl when I went to university, and she was like, "Oh, well, like, well, you know, I'm a Christian and I totally don't want to have sex or whatever, blah blah blah." And then, like, you know, I was like, oh, "I gotta take a shower, but you could sit on, like, you could just wait here." And then I come outside, a towel on, and she's naked, and then it's just like, I'm like, "Fuck!" It's like, you're not gonna tell anyone about this, right? She's like, "Totally, I'm not gonna say shit this." And then, you know, later on, she's like, "Oh, I have something cooked." She was just some weird, like, autistic girl. I mean, she's not like, I mean, dude, she had some fucking issues, but you get what I'm saying, dude. People are full of shit. Christians are the biggest hypocrites I've ever. Well, Christians and atheists, really. Everyone, Christians especially, I think it's because it's more annoying. They lie about whatever they quote unquote believe, and it's like, oh no, I totally want to have sex. Now you have to marry me because we fucked each other.
I think people are just people, let's be honest. And whether you're Christian or not, it just doesn't really, like, unless you're a real hardcore, I think just people behave the way people behave, whether you're religious or not, to be honest, like with all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Off some dude at an airport or whatever, you know? When he's whatever Congress said.
You're really cutting out badly, Yama.
Yeah, well, hey, Sidney.
Howdy.
Hi.
1 second, I'll be right back.
All right. What have you come to report? Says.
Oh, yeah, I give you the court records.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm still streaming, so I haven't gone to do anything else yet.
Okay.
Oh, that's probably your fucking internet. Stop streaming.
Excuse me?
No, dude, that's probably why I'm getting cut off so much. Like, I'm not paying for no stupid fucking Nitro.
What's Nitro?
You know what the fucking Nitro is?
I've seen it in my Discord somewhere in the setup.
No, don't click on that link. You probably got tricked out if it happened like this year. Like some people were trying to rip people off.
I've never clicked on it, so because I don't know what it is. But I'm sure it's them asking for money for something.
Oh no, it's them trying to fucking keylog you. I mean, well, this is what happened recently.
What does that mean?
But either way, I don't care about you. Wait. Zayas, how have you been, dude?
Oh, I'm doing fine for the moment.
Yeah, I haven't heard from you in a minute, homegirl.
Oh yeah, I left for a long time. Like I took a long break.
She said she'd be
There's
back in a minute.
nothing wrong with that. You don't know how many people were like, I don't know. I didn't like, you know, I don't think about you too often, but it's like someone just brought up your name and it's like, oh, well, you know, like this person. Because yeah, Rena was being a total bitch about you, and then she fucking banned me because she pretended that she doesn't remember you.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, this is a group that Sidney, you know this group, right? It's the old group from Hangouts. they happen to they're in another server.
Is Yama from Hangouts, from the old Hangouts?
No, you guys sent me all of your fucking stupid nudes. I don't know if you were on there. I don't fucking care.
You
But
probably,
no, I was never on Hangouts.
you don't recognize my name, so you're not from the old Hangouts.
Yeah.
No,
communities.
everyone told me everything about you idiots, and I just never cared.
So why do you care now?
I don't care.
You hear?
Well, I don't know. I got a DM here, and then someone told me to say hello.
Oh, well, welcome to the room.
You're welcome.
Yokoso. Wagaye.
So you got banned by that that group? Yeah, that whole group, they're from Hangouts.
Nah. Rena got mad at me again or something like that, and then she pretended. Well, what's her new boyfriend, Vandal? He got mad at me because he had to defend his woman or something like that. But I don't fucking care that much. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, "I totally didn't try to get him to do that. He did that on his own." And I'm like, "Dude, you were bitching at me the entire time."
Did you explain to Yama who Darth Dawkins is, Gary?
I don't even know who the
Oh,
idiot
yeah.
is. He got fucking like, yeah, that was that dude that got fucking like, well, didn't they try to swat him or something like that?
Oh, you don't know who he is.
Yeah, I do. What do you mean? I saw him get like someone sent me a video of him getting fucking swatted on like a fucking like call or whatever.
Ooh,
I
thank
said,
you.
go with Christ. Yep, I know who the fuck he is.
Yeah, I'd like the link to that video.
Yeah, he got swatted. He got swatted, Sidney.
When?
Thank you,
When
Yama,
did
for
he get
reminding me.
swatted?
Like this year, early this year.
You
Early
kidding
this
me?
year.
That was not nice. I don't like that. That's not. Sorry, I'm sorry that happened to you, Gary.
But Gary blamed us, Sidney. Gary put the blame on you, me, and others.
Well, it's the first I hear of it, so I'm sorry.
What do you mean you heard about it? Don't wait. Sidney, Winston, don't fucking lie.
I have not heard about Gary being swatted.
Oh, God.
Somebody
He got docked really hard. Like even fucking Mr. Batman got his shit fucked up a little bit.
What do you mean about Mr. Batman? I know Mr. Batman quite well.
And he was talking about abusing his children or something like that, and someone used it against him.
Mr.
Don't
Batman
pretend that you know about these. I think you know more than you say that you do.
Mr. Batman does not have children.
I didn't know that. I heard he had a son. Like he had a daughter that kind of pays attention to him a little bit, but I could be wrong.
Maybe I don't know. You could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I've as long as I've known Jim, Mr. Batman. Oh, he does have children because when he was having marital issues, I think he went and stayed with his daughter for a while. Although they couldn't stay long, he couldn't stay long because they didn't get along all that well. But yes, you're right. You're right. He does it.
Dude, I fucking know these people, dude. Like, even like, fuck, people think I'm joking about this shit, dude. And it's like all these random internet people that are famous, I know them to some degree.
Okay, so you want to talk about yourself a bit?
No, you already know. You probably tasted my dick in your mouth before, so yeah. I don't know. What do you want to know?
I want to know why you're being so disrespectful.
I'm always like this, dude. You've probably talked to me before.
No, I don't think so. Just not for very long, because I wouldn't stand for that.
I mean, well, Zeiss is no, like, hey, Zeiss, you know me for a long time, right? That's like, dude, I'm always like this. I'm not doing anything new.
Yeah, why do you think that it's appropriate?
Because I could do whatever the fuck I want to.
You must live in Florida as well.
Mm-mm.
What state are you in?
Texas at the moment. I don't know, but I'm
Texas.
about to go back to like Connecticut and like Ohio are my next targets, you know?
Yeah. Well, you don't seem like a very happy person.
What do you mean? I'm full of joy all the time. You don't know how much I smile.
That's funny. You're one day. I hope you succeed at trolling, but you know you're an apprentice right now.
I'm not trolling.
That's what I'm saying. You're an apprentice.
Why would I want to be a troll, dude? That sounds like the most sad, lonely existence you can ever have.
That's projecting at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, you're
Projecting
second at
at its
trolling right now.
finest.
If you really want me to troll, I guess I could try to, but I'm trying to pretend to be nice to people.
You want to, well, you know, pretending to be nice to people is a troll.
You are a very kind and nice individual, and I totally care about how you feel about your life and stuff like that. And I do not think you will die alone or kill yourself. I think you will be absolutely fine. Did I do a good job?
Yeah, very convincing.
Yes, that's what I do.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you for that.
Even like Dad, dude, like God damn it, that motherfucker's hilarious. I like fucking with him so much.
Who?
There's this dude. What's his name? He sent me his Google Hangout shit or whatever. Someone else sent me his shit. Like, it was kind of funny. People thought that like Zai sent me that shit, but it was like some other people sent me all of these things. Like, you don't know what. Like, dude, I got all this shit I don't care about on Google Drive. But yeah, like, he got into like a lot of shit.
Well, we were actually watching a Darth Dawkins debate with Skylar against Skylar Fiction, and Skylar Fiction was wiping the floor with Darth Dawkins.
No one cares about that. I thought we were talking about random people that we knew on the internet. Like, which account is this that you have? Do I remember you? I think you recall me, I guess.
I don't know who you are. I've never heard your voice.
It's so cute. Oh my God. Wait. You're making this
I've
difficult.
never
This is
seen
so
your.
fucking adorable.
I've never
I
seen your
totally don't
avatar.
remember who you are.
Okay, well, go ahead, tell us.
I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't pay attention to people, but yeah, you really want to be cautious with me. I'm trying my best not to bully people.
Well, no, I'm trying my best to respect you. I don't have to be cautious with you, young man.
What do you mean?
I mean, this is my domain, and you're in it. So
Oh no.
I would request that you comport yourself respectfully in a room full of adults and just join
I'll
join
be
the
real
adult
with you,
room,
dude.
okay?
Oh, good
That's
luck.
all.
It's like I'll try my best. Just but
That's
yeah,
all.
just
That's
like
all.
I don't know.
All right, try it.
I mean, I don't like to taste this. I don't like the taste of sodium in my mouth, and I doubt you like it either. Let's just be nice to each other.
I'm not so sure if we really want you in here, to be honest. Why don't you just take your leave
Oh,
and
damn, you do want me.
see you later?
I don't know, dude. Well, I don't know. You need some potassium. I can help you out.
Is Zay's your friend? Zay's, are you a friend of this Yama guy?
Oh, of course not.
Yeah, I'm his friend. Yeah, Ma. I mean that's how you are.
So why is he? Well, then we don't. I don't really like to hang around with people who are like that. To be honest with you.
Oh, this is probably where you're gonna die alone one day. It's not my fault. It's not Zai's fault. Eve didn't do anything wrong to you.
I just came in here to see what both of you were doing. Just came in to listen.
Well, I'm being abused, insulted, and bullied by this upstart
Wait, hold
young
on. You have
upstart
absolute power. You know what
Yamaha.
a power dynamic is. You have full
Yamaha.
control here.
Yeah,
This is your space.
That's right, and it's free speech, buddy.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to. Thank you for giving me that leeway. You gave me leverage right there.
It's respectful as well.
I am being respectful. What do you mean?
Well, I'm going to demand that you be respectful, to be honest.
I am being respectful. What do you mean?
What I mean is that you will behave yourself in here and just behave like an adult and pretend you're with other adults and see what it feels like, because it's probably going to feel pretty good.
I'm not gonna, like I told you, I don't like the taste of sodium in my mouth like you do. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, dude, Like, come on. I will do my best not to insult you. I will do. Like, I will try. Okay. But either way, guys, how have you been, homegirl? Or even then, wait. Don't you want to talk more?
Yeah. Hey, Sidney, Alpha. Good to have a chat, but I'm out of here. I'm out of here, Sidney. I got stuff to do, and this is degraded.
This is horrible.
Quickly.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell
All
you
right,
what.
thanks, guys, and I'll try and catch you next time.
All right,
All right,
Elf.
love
Thank
you
you.
guys. I don't know. I'm gonna call fucking Zaz. I haven't talked to her in a minute. Hey, can I call you homegirl? You good?
Yeah, you can call me. You can call me. Yeah,
Okay.
Good. He's out. That
yeah,
was actually very painful to have to experience.
I'll
Yeah,
have a talk to him. Like, I mean,
What?
I'll call him up and have a talk with him to be nicer.
Yeah, right. No, he's not welcome here. Don't
Fronts
worry about it.
lowered. In.
Alpha, go ahead.
Wow. I said he came in here with his fronts lowered, you know? Wow. Ouch.
Unbelievable.
We were just, I don't know, we were having kind of a nice conversation, talking about, you know,
That was
I
kind of
thought,
a
hey,
downer.
yeah, you know, I don't get a chance to talk to, you know, a lettered biologist very often, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tremendous interest in the natural world, and I just like all kinds of animals, not just dogs, but
Yeah.
you know, a very wide range of interests.
Yeah, that was
And
that
that
was
was
unpleasant and very unpleasant.
Yeah, Sydney, I'll give him a call to talk to him, and
No.
then I'll do him.
We're done. I'm done with him. I'm done with him. It's it.
Yeah.
Keep him away from me because I'll rip his fucking tongue out through his asshole.
Yeah. Depressed, angry, aggressive, young
But
person.
but at least the news of Gary being swatted and putting the blame on us, so Gary cares.
Can you fill me in about this? And like I feel like I'm the last one to know about this. Tell me.
Well, what happened was the beginning was like what Yama said. It happened during the beginning of this year. He got swatted, and he was just pinpointing. You was the first culprit, and I was first as well, and he was just making accusations.
So why was nobody making videos about it or talking about it or anything like that?
Yeah, he went on a rant. He just went on a
No, I'm
rant.
talking about why didn't everybody who makes videos about Darth Dawkins not make a video about Darth Dawkins being swatted?
I don't know. People just didn't do it. People just, yeah. People were just more concentrated on fighting with him, and he was more concentrated on fighting with people on here. It was more
Okay,
of the fight.
here's my position. I don't believe that Darth Dawkins was swatted. Okay,
Well,
that's my
that's what I've
position.
heard.
That's my position.
Okay.
Alpha, where do you stand?
All I know is that he kind of, you know, there was this transition period where there was a big flame out on one of the servers, and he kind of threw a tantrum and walked off of Discord for several weeks, and nobody knew where he was. And then the next thing you know, he's on Clubhouse.
Exactly. I witnessed all of that. I was watching all of that. But at no time was there any traffic about him being swatted. Was there any text traffic or buzz or gossip or nothing?
I wasn't really looking at Discord very much during the time that was all going on. But
yeah,
you
but
know,
it was flowing from Discord to lots of people's cloud, and then reproduced in the form of a reaction video, much like what I would like what we're doing tonight. What we'll get back to doing tonight.
sure.
So I'm not so sure that he was swatted. We'd need to verify that. Zays?
There was a man that's from New Jersey that was very upset at him that lives in New Jersey that threatened to come after him in real life, and he left for a while. Before that, before he went to Clubhouse, there was another incident, a man from New Jersey that he upset.
He lives in New Jersey.
Yeah, I know he lives in New Jersey, but this other man also lives in New Jersey, not far from him, nearby him, and
Nobody
there's
knows where he
something.
lives. What are you talking about?
Uh, no, I mean there was a man in on Discord that
Did the man go and take a picture of him so we can all see what his face looks like?
this man threatened him. This man was so upset, and Gary left for a while. He left for a while.
He did not leave his basement because his mommy still has to make dinner for him.
Gary might have viewed it as a credible threat, whether it was credible or not. I don't know.
He's a troll, Gary. He's not that. No, I don't believe any of this.
It happened in politics and religion server, from what I remember. And I think
Yes, I remember. Yes, you know what, dude? They do Tom Rabbit,
yeah.
or somebody like that did threw those up and did reactions to them or whatever.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that
That's got
happened.
nothing to
And
do with him being swatted, though.
now I need to ask Yama like the details of the SWAT because now I want the details, like the juicy news. Because I've been gone from Discord as well. I've been gone for a long time as well. I took a long break from Discord Hangouts. I took a long break from the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I'll come back and try to get the juicy news.
I understand
completely.
Yeah, I'll ask around. I asked Yama too. Like, I'll give him a call to get the juicy news. What happened?
No, don't ever speak to Yama again. He's toxic.
She can do what she likes.
She can, yes, you can do what you like, as long as you don't speak to Yama again. He's toxic. Okay, just kidding.
I just want to tell you, Sidney, welcome back to Discord. Thank you for being here.
Oh, that's
is
very sweet
Hangout?
of you.
Thank you. We need to Thea, she's in Teach server. She came into Teach server long ago, Thea.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you okay, yeah. Do you want me to give you her
No,
Discord name?
give her. No, everybody gets my Discord. I don't get theirs.
Okay. I'll try to message her.
Thank you very much. It will be lovely.
Yeah.
So, are you staying with us to watch the rest of the show?
Oh yeah, I just came to say hello to you and Alpha, Sydney, and I saw Yama in here. So I just came in to say hello to everyone else. I just want to know any more juicy news of Gary, any else I missed.
Okay. Well, if you stay, you can watch the rest of this debate between Gary and Skylar Fiction. There's still another 10, 13 minutes or so to go.
Yes, and also, Zeiss, I was going to say that our friend Oscar is kind of chasing Darth Dawkins right now, so you might want to join his server.
Who? Like, can you give me the link?
Look out for number
Am I
one.
banned from it?
Look out for number one. You were talking to him earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's him.
Yeah.
Anybody who's who's sort of chasing after Darth Dawkins. If they actually meet, it's bound to be explosive and probably a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah. All right. So should I fire up the Skylar Fiction Darth Dawkins epic debate?
You got it. Absolutely.
All right then.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, is there any Christian that wants to demonstrate objective morality? I would love to hear their argument for it. That's what I originally came in here to get Darwin to do, but he wasn't going to do it. I guess he doesn't believe in objective morality.
Well,
So
actually, I don't know why you're pretending that I didn't respectfully and in an adult manner answer your question. You asked me if I advocate. Okay, please don't interrupt me. You asked me if I advocated the concept of objective morality. I said no, I don't. What I said that I do believe, and that it is the case, is that the Christian God exists and he has an immutable character, whereupon we are obligated to comport ourselves with his character because he says so and he cannot lie.
how many assertions are you going to lay on top of each other before you actually make an argument?
Okay, if you reject that the Christian God is the final authority, then could you tell me what is the final authority that you appeal to, and what is the justification for it?
My worldview has nothing to do with your assertions, and you not backing them up.
The question is this.
I know what the question is. I heard the question, Darwin. Darwin,
I'd like to respond without being interrupted.
Well, no, if you're just going to repeat the question, I'm not going to allow you to respond
without being interrupted.
We'll do. I guess what I'll do is I'll just hide the other person who's not talking, and then
that's good. Okay,
we'll keep it to short. We'll keep it to short talking turns.
Okay. All right. So Skylar rejects that the Christian God speaks authoritatively and in a self-authenticating way. He rejects the Christian God is the final authority to declare what actually is the case in reality. He rejects this because he said it has not been justified. So my question is to Skylar, what is his final authority for determining what is actually the case as opposed to what he merely believes, and how does he justify what his final authority is?
Skylar, you're muted.
Sorry. Answered this question earlier, and you're still not backing up your assertions. Whenever you're ready, go for it, buddy. I'm waiting.
Well, real quick. I mean, I do kind of like his question because I mean, to me, I find it very interesting. Because like before I was a Christian, I said I was an atheist, even though I was more agnostic. But when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, pretty much what Darwin is saying. Like, if we were to remove God from the situation, how could I know what is the truth of reality? You know what I mean? How could I know other than what I perceive and reason on my own accord?
Well, we don't just need. Well, you can use multiple things to test things. You don't just need your reasoning. You can use other people's reasoning. You can use your reasoning. You could use computers that don't have subjective minds in the sense we do as human beings. There's lots of ways you can test things. Now, when you say no, that's the tricky part, right? Because really what Darwin is kind of arguing is absolute knowledge, right? But there are things that you can know by definition. And that's what really this is how the whole conversation started off, is me pointing out as an example that as long as we have a definition and we agree to a definition on this certain thing, we can have a conversation about it and agree or disagree about it.
Okay, Skylar, I asked you a question. What is your final authority that you appeal to determine what is actually the case in reality as opposed to you strongly believing it?
Yeah, I answered that question earlier, and you have not backed up your assertion.
No, I asked you the question, what is your final authority to determine what is actually the case in reality as opposed to you strongly believing it?
Sure, it would depend on the specific instance and what we're talking about.
I'm talking, what is your ultimate final authority to determine anything at all in reality is the case as opposed to you strongly believing it?
It would, like I said, it depends on the situation because different things would have different points in which would be my final authority.
Do you understand what a final authority would be?
I do, and you still have not backed up your assertion.
Okay.
Like, for instance, like
what is spoken? Hold on, I'm not done. Skylar, in my worldview, my final authority is the omniscient mind of God, and he speaks and he cannot lie. That is my final authority to determine what is actually the case, as opposed to me strongly believing it. Now, I'm going to ask you the question: what is your final authority to determine anything in reality is actually the case, as opposed to you merely strongly believing it?
So I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to comment on what you believe, because you basically just said your final authority is an assertion and a claim that you can't actually demonstrate, and you don't bother to demonstrate. So I could fill in anything here. If I just want to say that deist God's my final authority, and then I'm not going to back up any of my information like you do, and I'm not going to back up any of my arguments, I'll just do exactly what you do. So the deist God is my final authority.
Do you?
Okay, by the way, I just wanted to step in to moderate. Let's give it 5 more minutes of this debate thing, and then just let's not do that, please. Let's not, you know.
No, absolutely. I was happy to talk to Spoken. I thought it was going to be an interesting dialogue. Darwin's just going to keep jumping in. Go ahead, Darwin.
So Skylar says that he rejects my final authority because he doesn't see any justification for it. Skylar, what is the justification for what your final authority is, and could you tell me what your final authority is to determine that anything in reality is the case?
So I didn't actually say that. I didn't say it because there was no justification for it. What I said was, you made an assertion, you should back up your assertion to make an argument. So that's kind of a new question to this.
That's called a justification.
No, I'm just asking you. It can be a justification. Sure, you can be justifying your thing. But what I asked you was to actually demonstrate your assertion and your claim, which you still have not done. So.
Okay.
45 minutes in.
What is your final authority that would enable you to determine anything and everything that is actually the case, as opposed to you merely believing it?
Wait a minute. Everything that is actually the case?
Skylar, what is your final authority?
Wait a minute. You're asking me. Hold on. No, I'm listening. I heard your question. I'll answer it.
Okay, good. Answer it.
Okay. Yeah. You're asking me a question that's nonsensical. You're saying, what would be my final authority in order to basically demonstrate everything that actually exists in reality?
Or anything.
Or anything. Well, I gave you examples of anything earlier, so I'm not going to re-answer this question.
What is your final authority?
It depends on the specific situation.
What would that be?
If you give me a specific example,
for example, like if you were to, at the end of the day, you.
I'd like to finish. I'd like to finish, Spoken. Okay.
Of course, Darwin would like to finish.
Okay, Skylar. What is your final authority that determines what anything is actually the case in reality, as opposed to you strongly believing it?
Like I said, it depends on the situation. You're not either listening to me or it's too dense for you to kind of get through.
Do you have an answer to my question?
I answered your question multiple times.
What is your final authority to determine that anything?
Well, if you ask the question again, it's not going to get a different answer. Dude.
Okay,
you're not backing up any of your, first of all, you didn't back up any of your assertions. Not one.
Okay,
not one besides you saying God said so. And then you want to ask me 100 questions that have nothing to do with you backing up your assertions.
Okay.
Everyone sees this. It's pathetic.
You don't accept my final authority. I'm asking you, what is your final authority?
That's not what I said. I didn't say that I don't accept your final authority. I asked you to demonstrate your final authority.
I said because when he speaks, anything he says is self-authenticating because he can't lie.
You backed up your claim with another claim, and that's great. That's wonderful.
Do you accept that justification?
I don't accept that specific justification.
Okay, good.
Because you backed up a claim with another claim.
Okay, good. Now, could you tell me what is your final authority to determine that anything in particular is actually the case in reality?
Anything? It would. Well, I told you specific ones earlier. I don't know if you remember what happened. So.
What is your final authority?
Okay, you can ask the question again.
Well, you haven't answered it.
Oh, that's fine. We can move on.
Okay, now Spoken. Do you understand the problem here? When I ask Skylar what is his final authority, I've asked him several times, and he is either unwilling or he's incapable of telling us what his final authority is to determine any is true. Excuse me, you're interrupting me. I'm speaking to Spoken.
Well, I'm just telling you, you're dishonest.
Okay, I'm speaking to Spoken. Would you not interrupt me, please?
Would you be not dishonest?
Would you please not interrupt me? I'm speaking.
Yeah, I don't really want to get involved with this because this is like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Let me ask
a child. Like you'd be like, let me tell the kid, hey, I'm right, right?
All right. So Spoken,
Spoken's not even trying to play your game, dude.
Spoken, do you share the same view that I do, that the Bible is the infallible, inspired word of God? Spoken?
I do.
Okay, good. So if God says something and he cannot lie, that God, when God gives revelation, it is self-authenticating. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Okay, good. In the Bible, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Therefore, everything that exists that is independent and external to God would be contingent upon God. Isn't that correct, Spoken?
Yep. Yes, that's also correct.
Okay, good. So since you and I share the same worldview, our final authority that would determine what is actually the case in reality would be God himself, right?
That is also correct, yeah.
Okay, good. Now, if that worldview is rejected, if the God of the Bible is rejected, that his revelation is self-authenticating, then Schuyler must have, or for that matter, any other skeptic, must have some final authority that he can appeal to in order to make any rational argument. Because in order to make a rational argument, you would have to say something is the case or something is not the case. And when you make the statement that something is or is not the case, you would have to offer some justification for it. You would have to appeal to a source that would be a final authority. Now, Schuyler would have us believe, and skeptics would have us believe,
okay,
they are capable of making, well, I'll just say skeptics in general, skeptics would have us believe that they are capable of making rational discourse and to determine what is or is not the case.
10 seconds, please.
But they don't have a final authority that can confirm or justify that anything is the case.
Okay, I'm just going to be honest. I can't take more of this.
I understand.
This, like Spoken said, it's just like a hamster wheel.
Yeah, well, you should agree with it because it's central to Genesis 1:1, MK.
I am not even going to get sucked into this. I am done. I'm closing the hangout. I'm going to close the hangout, and may God bless us all.
I'm delighted that I'm going to be able to.
Hey, God bless y'all.
Okay, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I'm going to delight in seeing the timestamp where Schuyler contradicted himself.
Yeah. If you want, Darwin, I'll put the video up. MK won't take the video down after it's up for like a minute, and then tell me that he's going to keep it up, like you did. Remember that? Remember when you told me you would keep the video up for my...
Schuyler Fiction, Schuyler Fiction. Welcome to the Schuyler Fiction experience. May God have mercy on your soul.
All right. It's just us. Okay. Let me just get back here.
Schuyler Fiction was definitely one of Darth's stiffer opponents.
Oh, he was brilliant. Hold on a second. Stop that. Yeah. He literally got his ass wiped. Gary did.
Yes. Yes. Tom Rabbit, Gus. Doug, Pine Creek. Oh,
that was brilliant. Yeah.
Jesus. But Darth, can't we talk about this is strange. Most Christians like talking about Jesus, Darth. Why don't you talk about Jesus?
Yeah. Oh, I actually have that downloaded. It's such an epic video.
Yeah. 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 It's like it was throwing up a cross in front of a vampire. Except it was a Christian. Just crazy.
I honestly believe that Christianity is some sort of a mental illness.
Sometimes it's a death cult. Anytime you attempt to predict the end of the fucking world, it's a death cult. So
True enough.
Millenarian, Waco, those goofballs that stand on street corners and buy billboard ad space and say the world's going to end on such and such a date. Then they change the date, then they change the date,
Yeah.
then they change the date, and we're still here.
Exactly. Every 10 years, there's somebody convinced that there's the end of the world coming on such and such a date, and they have their followers. That I can never understand. How do they get fucking followers?
Well, it doesn't even have to be Christians. I was in the area not far from the Heaven's Gate people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could just call that a garden variety cult, I
Where
guess.
were
But
they? Where were they out of?
Heaven's Gate was out of southern South California. They had a weird little compound out kind of in the middle of nowhere. It was in North San Diego County, and yeah, and everybody knows what happens there. But you also have Jim Jones, you know, People's Church.
That was pretty brutal, eh, from the 70s.
Oh God, you know. But there's that paradox, but then there's also like, oh, I can't remember the name of this particular hate preacher, but he's one of those like Baptist tent preachers where he's got like this $1 million giant outdoor tent and gets all of his nasty little conservative friends in there and screams hateful crap from the pulpit, and then God comes in with a hurricane, blows over his fucking multi-million-dollar tent, and then the hate preacher has to go on and beg money, e-beg, and go, oh, my church, my tent was all destroyed by the hurricane. Give us money. And it's like not one person in that church looked up and said, is this God commenting on what this guy is actually preaching to us? Like, if this guy is preaching the righteous word of God, why wouldn't God have put over a bubble over this revival tent?
Good
and kept
one, indeed.
it
Why?
shreds 100-mile-an-hour winds. How do you figure that?
I'm at loss for words.
Oh, church collapses. What about that? What about when, you know, you have a church full of people and the whole building fails and it falls on everybody and kills the parishioners? What does that mean?
That means God is